what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Guess what today is?
Hump day!
It is hump day, I know. Almost there, halfway.
Now I gotta see.
You know what my problem is, though? I don't want the week to end. Honest to goodness, I can tell you in my...
Don't say that, because now you're going to get people asking about Sunday.
In my adult... We could do it on Sunday. In my adult life, honest to goodness, until this with you guys, I never didn't necessarily look forward to the weekends. I was always like, let's go weekends. I can't wait for the week to be over. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Let's be honest.
What am I going to do?
Let's be honest. You've always had a job. What's the only thing that's different? Working with me.
Ah, that must be it. Thank God I've got you to tell me where it is.
Wow.
What you would say is where it's at, which would be wrong, but, you know, can't beat the zealy out of the boy. How's everybody? So I understand, Janae, you're not very pleased with clowns or the music. I agree.
Neither is Booth.
I find, yes, that's true. I will say I agree with you. Everything that's going on is a total joke. It's a three-ring circus, right? You guys all see it. Who knows why we've got our little friend up here with the clown noses on? You guys following? What's the number one meme going around right now? Anybody?
I think I have it.
You know what it is? I'm sorry, but that's freaking funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. Matt Krupp from the Battleground sent me that this morning, and I'd already seen it, and it just showed up in my inbox, and I was like, rah, it's perfect. Perfect. Hi, Jenny Webb. How are you, sweetheart? Hi, U.S. Abby girl. What's going on, Cher? Hey, Demanda. How's the tattoo, Demanda?
I would. The reason I think it's ridiculous is he does it, and your first response isn't to be like shocked, and she went after him with fists, like she's gonna do something. Like
people really? Don't know what we're talking about yet, possibly.
Oh, they all know.
I don't know. I don't know what they know and what they don't know.
Her getting squirted with something by
hi Diana Moody. Right, it was Juicy Smollier's bleach that they spritzed on him. They had like a little spritzer. They were like this. Hey, Juicy, this is MAGA country, right? And you're like, at 2 a.m, 2 big black dudes wearing MAGA hats.
When it's like 5 degrees outside.
Hey, get the noose.
Leave it on. Make it look good.
Here you go. Like, how freaking stupid. See,
I have another one, Bubba Wallace.
I know, the noose. Look, they're trying to hang people. It's actually a garage door pull. It looked like a noose. Yeah, flipping jackwagon. Like legitimate dirtbags trying to get clicks, trying to get importance. I don't know what it is, guys. If you're just naturally fabulous, you don't have to like hunt for it.
I still love the fact
By the way, Rumble.
Yeah, I still love the fact that
I think I'm funny.
She got it squirted on her.
And then she like lunges at the guy.
Well, no. Everybody else is like, it stinks. She never says that.
Nah. No, and it's all like they're coordinated. It smells. Yeah, it smells bad. Hey, Mom, does that smell? Yeah, it smells bad.
Yeah. Here, smell this. It's like a fart in the wind.
My
it
God,
just waved over.
I almost just had a little tinkle accident.
Well, at your age.
Well, it's true. It's true. Oh, my goodness. That's so funny. Hey, what's going on? So we're at 82.8. We'd like to get to 83 today. If we can get followers, if you follow us, remember what that means. You just get notified when we go live, and it's like a quick one, and you can mute it if you want. But that helps us so much. Smell my finger. Right. Oh, taste this. It tastes like burnt. You like?
Yeah, boy, I really want to.
Tastes like what? Something chutney and burnt hair. And they're like, oh, try it. Why would I try it? That's a commercial of the hyenas eating garbage. Oh my God, it's so funny.
It's
983. Thank you.
And we got to rumble. You guys got to rumble. We got to beat it. We were 6 yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Something weird.
Because we're getting a ton of views.
Yeah. And we're getting more views after the show, which leads me to believe a lot of you that have schedules that don't work with our change are then coming back and you're making us either the morning where you were or later on in the day. I'm delighted. Thank you. Love you. Thank you. Thank you. So great. We're still in a deep freeze here. What was it? 5 degrees? What does it say now?
It is now 11.
Wow.
It's warming up. It's just too cold.
It is.
I'm done with winter. I'm done with them my street still has been not been touched. So
The shoe, yes, obviously wasn't holy water. Though you said holly water, but I understand what you're saying.
Wow.
No, I'm just saying, I don't know. There might be a play on words that I'm not aware of. I don't know.
if you live in the city of Pittsburgh, please call and tell them to pave my road, shovel my road, or plow my road.
Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, I know.
It is a Smollett kind of a day, isn't it? You guys feeling juicy?
I'm upset I didn't come up with that.
Oh my God, that is so freaking funny. It owned the internet at like 6 a.m. It's the best.
It is funny.
All right, let's go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane,
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back, not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Oh, hello, America. Welcome and greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. Look, common sense conservatism is spreading across the country because common sense, gosh, so few people, it seems like that on the left seem to have it, right? And this is what we serve up every single day. We give you 3 hours of the best content out there online. We get really interesting people who say interesting things, citizen journalists who do the work that the media long ago failed to do and are now like incredulous. Where'd everybody go? Like, I don't know. This is our community. This is our family. And you are always, always invited. WendyBellRadio.com is how you follow along on the live video stream. You know, I love to see you in the chat and talk to you in the commercial breaks. So I hope you stay for a while and maybe tomorrow bring a friend. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, so much of life is optics, and the optics are often such bogus representations of what's really going on, right? Think about the youngest generation right now on their phones and what they post online. The optics always makes young people, this is what they do. They put their images out online, and we do it as well. But everything's just so. The girls pose with their legs just like this, and their hips are turned. And now the big thing is everybody's drinking martinis. Oh, look at us as we clink our martinis. And all of this faux, oh, look how sophisticated we are. Meanwhile, everybody's scrambling to get by and can't move out of their mom and dad's house because rent's too expensive, right? The optics that you put out there into the universe about who you are, what you are, and who you believe, what you believe in, is often so different than the reality. And I think America is so over it. I'm so done with it, right? Like the optics of war. You always have to have a bad guy. There's always going to be something you got to fight for. Oh my gosh, let's get involved. Let's send a bunch of... Now, let's just slow down a little bit here, right? Let's talk about Minnesota for a second. Let's talk about what happened in Minnesota yesterday, because the optics are the left is desperate for you and for me to believe that what we're seeing in Minneapolis is the result of a president who is just this heavy-handed dictator who doesn't care about people, and he's sending in his Gestapo to go round up people, drag them out of their houses, kicking and screaming, leaving kids on the side of the road, not caring about anything, right? And so what did President Trump do yesterday? And we're going to talk about this in the second half hour, but he basically sent a changing of the guard, right? He pulled out people that weren't necessarily working, put in people to smooth things over, said, we're going to cooperate with you. We're going to do whatever we can to work together. Let's get this figured out. So the criminal illegals are plucked from our society and sent home. And everybody else, you guys do you. I'm not looking for you. Even if you're an illegal alien in this country, if you're not a criminal, you're not on my list. That is what Trump said. The optics changed of the story overnight in Minnesota. So Ilhan Omar, representative, who's in the crosshairs of not just being a dirtbag, marrying her brother, and being a mooch leech on the American citizen, which is so deeply offensive. This woman came from a country of rampant illiteracy. It's like a 70% illiteracy rate, right? These people live in an environment thousands of miles away from us. Civil war and poverty and famine and wacky clan-like inbreeding stuff. Why don't you come on over to the Minnesota area? Sounds perfect. A great place for you guys to go. They set up shop. They multiply. And then all of a sudden, everybody's rich, sending suitcases of cash back home to the homeland. And we're all supposed to be like, that is really something. I mean, like, of course that would happen. Ilhan Omar is the crux of this evil triad that we're seeing, right? She's the one who passed the Meals Act in Congress that basically opened the floodgates of all of this fraud. And there's a reason she's worth now over $30 million. She's being investigated. People are looking deeply at her. House Oversight is investigating. So's the Ethics Committee investigating her specifically. So what does she do? She goes yesterday back to her state, where she's not really from. None of these idiots are, right? And she goes there and she has a town hall meeting with a bunch of people who are her sycophants, her supporters. And there's some guy, and by the way, the whole point of the town hall isn't to talk about what can we do, Minneapolis? How can we rebuild? How can we come together? How can we stop all this? It's abolish ICE, right? It's abolish ICE. It's about all of this. Get rid of Kristi Noem. She's got to be impeached, blah, 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 blah. And some guy in the front row who a camera is on, which is wild because there's cutaways of this guy. He looks agitated. He's some 55-year-old guy, whatever. And he gets up with something in his hand. He like spritzes her with it, like, psh, psh, you know? And she's like, ah! And she like lunges at him to try to hit it away. And then somebody kind of sort of tackles him because he kind of staggers away. And then like somebody jumps up and gets him to the ground. And she F-bombs him, sitting congresswoman. Effing a-hole, super classy. Stay classy, Ilhan, right? As people in the audience are like, oh, what did he spritz? What did he spray? It smells bad. And then we're all like, wait, what just happened? Some goofball in the front row. Pause. It's like he waited for her to drop the money line. And she needs to be impeached. And then he gets up, and like sprays something on her that smells bad. And she, instead of recoiling and being like, oh, she like lunges for the guy. Okay, she's all of 100 pounds soaking wet. Come on. And then afterwards, she's like, as things settle down, Ilhan Omar is like, just know, Minnesota, that we're Minnesota strong and I will not be bullied. And it's like, did you just juicy small yay, everybody? I mean, I know it's not walking around your apartment after you were apparently attacked by two black dudes with MAGA hats on who spritzed chlorine on you and gave you a couple punches, allegedly, and put a noose on your neck and said, this is MAGA country. But it smells kind of just as stupid, doesn't it? The optics are completely unbelievable. Who this guy was, what he was thinking, how it's all going to play out, I don't even care. because we remember how the story goes, right? Let's talk about what Trump said about it. And his response, he didn't even know. He's like, look, Ilhan Omar, I think, is a criminal, and I don't pay attention to her. All she does is bitch. This is what he said. No, I don't think about her. I think she's a fraud. I really don't think about that. She probably had herself sprayed, knowing her. Well, isn't that interesting, Mr. President? Let's go over a few things that you and I have watched the optics of and have sat back and said, that's probably one of the dumber presentations I've ever seen. It's Bad High School Musical. Remember when Jamal Bowman pulled the fire alarm because he was stalling a floor vote that wasn't going the Democrats' way and he needed to buy some time. And so the whole Capitol complex is evacuated. And afterwards, he's like, oh, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what I was doing. And you're like, really? The entire January 6th thing? That was all optics. That was all for your enjoyment to see what was going on there. So burned in your mind would be smoke and chaos and right? How about Democrats? Okay, being the party of joy. Remember how they tried to fly that one out for a while? That was the optical narrative. We're just such great, joyful people. We're going to come back to our joyful roots. Lasted 7 seconds. How about Joe Biden? He's seasoned. He runs circles around me. The guy is like, he's incredible. And then like 9 months later, Jake Tapper wrote his book. He's like, I had no idea he was demented, but buy my book. How about taking a knee with the stupid kente cloths? How about that optical narrative, right? We're down with all of you. Okay, kente cloths aren't from America, but okay. How about the Patriot Front? You guys remember these goofballs who'd walk around? It was during Joe Biden's presidency, and these guys would be like 50 of them all dressed the same, and they were supposed to be some splinter group off of a neo-Nazi organization that's all about like white nationalism and whatnot. Those people, I've never met them. I don't know who they are, but they trotted themselves out all looking the same, like total goofballs, as though you and I are supposed to be like, oh my gosh, there are white supremacists in America. Didn't work. How about AOC's fake arrest? Remember that in 2022 when she was protesting for abortion, right? And then she faked that she was getting arrested and handcuffed, and then she had her hands behind her back as somebody's like walking her away, but there were no handcuffs on her. Don't let the optics get in the way of a good story, AOC. How about Chris Cuomo coming out of the basement after COVID? Brock, you remember this one. This was one of our favorites. It was
yeah. All sweaty.
He had done
medium.
He had done like 50 push-ups beforehand, and he like busts out and he's like he had just come out of Joe Biden's hyperbaric chamber for a month, and he's like, oh, but of course we had known he had broken protocol because some bicyclist was riding by his Hamptons house, and he was like, hey, you're Chris Cuomo. You have COVID. You should be inside. And Chris Cuomo was like, oh yeah? You want to fight, Buster? It was so stupid. You guys, all of this, Ilhan Omar being spritzed by something. She's not even worried about the toxicity of whatever the chemical or is, whatever. She makes no mention of the odor. She just drops an F-bomb, lunges at a guy who looks like he wants to harm her. Speaking as a woman, I'm going to say that we don't normally lunge at people who look like we're going to attack us, okay? But chuck all that out the window, ladies and gentlemen, because it is the optics Olympics, and they need you in order to win the gold. Okay, so don't be distracted, Donald Trump says. All this stuff going on in Minneapolis, all this stuff with Ilhan Omar. Yeah, keep your eye on the ball. And President Trump knows exactly what it is. The dude, I'll tell you what, unstoppable. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm sorry, that was way too much fun.
Maybe what they sprayed her with was something that smelled like Somalia.
Oh my goodness.
Someone said maybe they sprayed her with sniper. That couldn't be it. That doesn't smell bad.
Can you imagine if somebody sprayed something on you? You'd be like, what the flip? I'd be like, right? I wouldn't be like, And she was all about it, like she'd been planning how she's going to do it. Come on, Ilhan. Do not call the Juicy Smollier playbook. It doesn't work for you, but he promises it all really happened. I'm going to tell you about Texas Bullion Exchange, WendyLovesGold.com. Brock will hopefully give me my, he'll give me my precious metals update here momentarily.
Silver is up 857, 114. Gold's up 204, over $5,000.
Wow, WendyLovesGold.com. Look, I told you the number here, 855-927-5557. I know that we're used to communicating with each other by typing messages. But I think in the world of precious metals investing, especially if you're not really knowledgeable, and I wasn't and pretty much still am not, I bought it, right? It's nice to talk to somebody because you can immediately be like, this is who I am. This is what my plans are. This is what I hope to achieve. Or I have no idea if this is even something for me. And I just wanted to talk to somebody reputable. I trust Wendy. And so I'm talking to you. 855-927-5557. The game changer to me about Texas Bullion Exchange is their principal protection program, their own PPP. And this one's worthwhile. It's a pledge to you that whatever you buy your precious metals at from them, if everything goes kablooey and the value of it drops to nothing, you will get back exactly what you paid for it. You will not lose money. I don't know how they do that, but it's a pretty big deal. WendyLovesGold.com. Brock and I were literally laughing out loud.
Someone came up with, maybe they sprayed some wine on her. The Gretchen
That's
Whitmer.
funny. That's a good one. Mm-hmm.
And the big one.
What's the Gretchen Whitmer?
Remember the kidnapping?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't this.
No, it was the kidnapping.
Remember when she was in the Oval Office hiding behind her binder because she didn't want to be caught in the picture?
They're so ridiculous.
You're so
childish.
go get some more Botox and sit down, okay? It's okay to get older, Gretch. I know, okay? Okay. Who am I kidding? I do it too. Okay, there's like a fuzzy that's right in my...
Isn't it funny that the stuff goes down? Everybody starts talking about her winery that day.
Let's change the narrative.
She gets
What can we
sprayed.
do? Commercial break. He's like, isn't the timing of Ilhan Omar getting spritzed by some guy, whatever the substance was, what did that effectively do? It changed the conversation away from Ilhan Omar's husband and this bogus winery that, from what we can tell, has apparently generated tens of millions of dollars in revenue while being closed, while not selling any wine that we could find, right? By not having an actual storefront or any demonstrable links for the buying public. And you have to scratch your head and be like, huh. And then you know that her husband is a rat fink as well, because he's under investigation for swindling a bunch of cannabis guys out of their money to invest in his winery, which doesn't apparently exist. And now we've got House Oversight like tightening the noose, investigating him, Ethics Committee looking at her. Everybody's looking at the Somalian fraud, blaming Nick Shirley, of course. Damn him for exposing it. That's an optical Olympic right there. And all of this happens yesterday to do what? Suck the oxygen out of the investigation into Ilhan Omar's a very possible criminality and play it as though some MAGA whack job decided to lunge at her because he was like, don't you talk about Christine Nome like that. I'm going to get you spritz, right? Like, that doesn't add up, okay? That's poor execution because you're all dumb. Who think you can fool us, right? Trump says he knows exactly what's going on. Don't take your eye off the ball. The focus, They stole $19 billion. Here's the president on the Will Cain show yesterday.
So in Minnesota, they think it's $19 billion. If they think it's $19 billion, triple it or quadruple it. And if we catch a lot of this fraud, and I felt it for a long time, but now we know what's happening. And the answer is, yeah, there will be accountability. It's one of the little problems. You know, I happen to think, and I've said it from the beginning, that a lot of what's going on with respect to Minneapolis, you know, with what's happening with all the hoopla, is so people don't talk about.
You think it's
fraud.
a distraction?
I've said it from day one. It's a distraction because what you don't see is that we have hundreds of accountants from Todd and from all of the different people. We have hundreds of accountants going over everything that's happening, and we're finding fraud on top of fraud on top of fraud. And I think that they don't want that to happen. You're talking about $19 billion. Probably that's a minimal number. Now, you take that and you go to California. You think California is better? I would say California is worse. It's totally out of control. They don't know what they're doing out there.
My gosh, so we have hundreds of CPAs, bean counters, sniffing up the skirts of all of these expenditures. They are panicked. Walls closing in. I personally think Tim Walz did probably make a deal with Trump. I bet you Tim Walz was like, look, I'll roll, I'll talk, I'll do whatever, but I got to walk away clean. And I'm feeling like writing a book that should be a New York Times #1 bestseller, right? Did you know that former President Joe Biden's Department of Justice, says the New York Times, began an investigation into the finances of Representative Ilhan Omar, the Somali refugee turned far-left politician, after reports suggested that she had amassed a multi-million-dollar net worth since being elected to Congress, the New York Times reports. This week, the Times reported that the DOJ opened that probe into Omar's finances in 2024, suggesting that President Trump's questioning of how Omar got her wealth was also a question raised by federal prosecutors under the prior administration. The Justice Department, it says, this is the Times reporting, under the Biden administration, opened this investigation into Omar, Democrat of Minnesota, in 2024 to scrutinize her finances, campaign spending, and interactions with a foreign citizen, according to people with knowledge of the matter. This week, Trump posted to Truth Social remarks about the DOJ investigation into Omar, saying the DOJ and Congress are looking at Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, who left Somalia with nothing and is now reportedly worth more than $44 million. Time will tell all. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President DJT. Now, do you think that Ilhan Omar hasn't had her phone ringing off the hook? Oh my gosh. Did you see what Trump wrote about you? Of course she saw. She's like, you know what? I think we need a town hall in Minnesota. We need to do this stat. It's almost like you guys can connect the dots. And they know you can. All right, so when we come back on this program, we're going to talk about what the president did in his art of the deal. And the beautiful thing about the president's deals is that he always gets what he wants, what he originally starts off for. He always gets it. And at the same time, he makes his opponent, who he is drubbing, feel like they, in fact, have won. It is a beautiful piece of, let's just say, classic manipulation. And he's done it in Minnesota. And we're going to talk about it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Uh-oh, I'm running out of batteries. Oh, I just panicked. Ah. I just totally panicked.
Are we running low?
Yeah, no, let me just It was flickering. And flickering ain't good. All right. How are you guys doing? Okay, who do I want to talk about? You know, I never talk about Dr. Gundry here. Dr. Gundry. This is one of those things that is the easiest thing to add to your life. Look, we all have to drink water. If I do anything, it's not drink enough. And mine usually is in the form of beer, which is a diuretic. So it's contrary to getting water. And coffee, right? So if you do try to drink several glasses of water a day, it takes nothing and it's super affordable. And what a great thing to add to your world. A scoop of MCT Wellness, thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. This is the watermelon lemonade. Okay, I'm getting near the end. I don't understand why they put these little things in there. It's so annoying, right? Like, what the hell is that?
Take it out.
It's like the little silica packs in your shoes. You're like, that's necessary. Thank you. Anywho, you add this to water and you know what happens? First of all, it's delicious. All three flavors, fantastic. But it quenches your hunger and it soothes your desire to eat something you shouldn't. And for me, it's a good 5 hours of no appetite. I'm full. It's sweet and sour. So I have like that thing that I need satisfied. And this is how Dr. Gundry lost 70 pounds, 70. So I drink it every single day. I just want to maintain my weight. I put on like 5 or 6 pounds with menopause. Whatever. Am I going to have to starve myself? No. So I drink this and I'm very consistent with my weight. But if you want to be hardcore, you do this as a meal supplement and you start working out and you eat the right stuff, you can lose 20, 40, 60, 70 pounds. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. There's a nice video. You're going to love it. And I hate videos and I like this one. You're going to like the video and then you're going to like the discount that you get at the end of it. I think it's wonderful. And to put it in a bottle and walk around and enjoy it and not eat for 5 hours is very beneficial to a lot of us. Especially if what you want to eat is an entire bag of pistachios. It's my new thing. That and any kind of beef jerky. It's just like, seriously.
Have I ever given you the beef jerky from my place? Did I go get it?
Where do you go get it?
Up in Evans City.
What's it called?
City. What's that?
What's it called? Do you know?
Brittner's.
What's it?
Brittner's.
The
gold. We called it as kids gold because it was 40 years ago, like $20 a pound.
Wow.
It's
worth it.
Off the chart.
What makes it so good?
The seasoning, like no one knows his recipe.
Secret.
Yes.
Top secret. I like it. Biden DOJ investigating Ilhan Omar, of course. And how offensive that she should stand there and wave her magic wand of edicts. See, these people feel very insulated once they get into their cozy offices. But we're also going to talk about a Republican senator who is very disappointing.
Yeah.
And I like her a lot. But I don't like anybody enough to allow them to insider trade or anything. And it feels an awful lot like that for this one. So we're going to talk about it. It's interesting to see Trump has forced Jacob Fry and Tim Walz to put their cards on the table. And he has very much softened his rhetoric, the president has. And so now he's like a kinder, gentler. It's interesting. Weird, huh? Anyway, do you guys want to do a show on Sunday? Okay, here's what I'll do.
Oh boy.
Well, I really want to get to 83 today. 83,000 followers. And that's that little follow button underneath my face right now. So if you haven't clicked that, if you would click that, because we're super close to getting, what, 82.9?
We're at 82,823.
I would love to get to 82.9 today. And that should be easy during the show. It's only like 70 of you who needs to click that. And then we're going to push it and try to get to 83. We've got goals. There's 17,000 we need to get by Easter. So I don't know. We'll see. What else is going on out there? Now, I haven't heard anything back about the Cozy Earth problems.
I have.
You
They're
have.
still working on it.
I don't understand. I really don't understand. Tomorrow is my last Newsmax Common Sense show. Wow. It's weird. So Tom Homan goes to Minneapolis. You know, it's interesting when you consider how President Trump handles all of his negotiations. He tells you what he wants, and he amps it up by about 50%, right? He tells you what he wants, and then he asks for the world. And when he asks for the world, the person who's going to have to give something in order for the president to get the world has to bitch about it and be like, oh, can you believe that? Be outraged. That's ridiculous. And they'd be like, I'll never do that. I mean, I'll do this, but I'm not going to do that. And then President Trump is like, oh, well, I guess it's for the good of the people. Okay, we'll do what you want. And what they want is what he wanted from the beginning, right? And so that person is like, ha, I told him. Meanwhile, the president's like, okay, whatever. I got what I wanted. Whether it's tariffs, right? Traveling all over the world, talking to all these foreign leaders. Here's the deal. You can play with us. You don't play with us. However it works. Your choice. But the golden pathway to the next age of enlightenment is this way. Do you want to come and take my hand? And people are like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want. He did that in Minneapolis. President Trump, when he talked about immigration, he said that the 20 million people who came across the border was an absolute disaster. His number one objective with the border, close it. Next, find the people who are dangerous, the criminals. Find them, arrest them, and deport them. Now, the other stuff that you're hearing about in Minnesota, right? They're snatching people out of their homes. They're rounding up people at Home Depot. Oh my gosh, and Abuela kidnapped off the street. They're disappearing. President Trump is like, you know what? I really don't like those optics. I'll give you that. Jacob Fry and Tim Walz, I don't like it either. And I really didn't like the two people got killed. And I'm particularly worried, the president said, and it bothers me deeply, about the death, about Renee Good being a mom. And a mom was shot and killed. This has to be toned down. I agree with you. Let's work together and do that, right? And so what does he get out of them? You got to cooperate with the feds. State and local police have got to cooperate with the feds. You got to turn over your criminal, illegal aliens that you know are in the system. And you got to help us get the rest of the criminals that we're looking for to get them out. Didn't say anything about illegals who've been here for a while. He didn't talk about people who crossed into the country under Joe Biden who haven't been terrorizing our citizens. He said criminals. And that's what they said they're going to help him with. So there is the deal. Trump gets what he wants. And now the ball is in Jacob Fry and Tim Walz's court. The president says, I agree. Let's pull out the guy from Border Patrol, right? Let's pull out Greg Bovino, who's done a good job, but he seems like a lightning rod. We're going to pull out Kristi Noem. She seems to be generating a lot of fuss, and she's getting a lot of people aggravated. Okay, let's pull them out. We'll put in somebody who's got a lot of experience, Tom Homan, 40-odd years, 6 presidents, whatever the case is that he's worked for, and let's get the process started. Let's calm things down. You guys make your city safe, and we'll do what we set out to do and pull out these criminal illegals. Okay, now it's up to Jacob Fry and Tim Walz. What are you going to say? So let's start with this. Tom Homan arrives like last night at 9 o'clock, right? And he calls Tim Walz, and he's like, look, let's talk. Ready to talk? And they talk. And he's like, this is a productive starting point. Border czar Tom Homan revealed that he met with Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry, as well as other law enforcement officials, adding that the meetings were a productive starting point. Homan explained in a post on X that they had discussed the issues on the ground in Minnesota. He also pointed out that President Donald Trump has been clear that he wants American cities to be safe and secure for law-abiding residents. Today, I met with Governor Walz, Mayor Fry, and the top law enforcement officials to discuss the issues on the ground in Minnesota. We all agree that we need to support our law enforcement officers and get criminals off the streets. While we don't agree on everything, these meetings were a productive starting point, and I look forward to more conversations with key stakeholders in the days ahead. Okay? So while Homan spoke well of the meetings with Walz and Fry, he did not make any announcements about agreements or concessions being made at all. So that's how he's presenting it. The president said he wants this to be quieted. He wants the criminals off the street. He wants the law-abiding folks of this country to be able to be outside or what have you and not live in terror or in fear of some rando nearby that came into this country under Joe Biden, all right? So let's talk about what Tim Walz said. And he has a very different approach than Jacob Fry. Breitbart, still, we're going to stay on that source. Walz, on meeting with Tom Homan, he said there was a tone shift. It was progress. I think President Trump is probably in his phone call with Tim Walz. I think he probably offered an off-ramp. I believe in a very brief amount of time, they probably worked on something relatively quickly to allow Tim Walz to kind of Scooby out of the spotlight and maybe save his own backside. Tuesday on CNN's Anderson Cooper 360, Governor Walz said there was a tone shift during his meeting with border czar Tom Homan. He said, well, Tom is a professional, which is a lot more than Bovino and Kristi Noem. But look, I think this thing that we said, we're very clear about this, that we need these folks out of Minnesota and that we need justice for Renee Good and for Alex. And those were the things that we came with. I think the thing that I'm most concerned about is that this tone was different. There was a tone shift. I wish it was because of the horrific, shooting that someone saw some morality, but I think it's probably the press, Tim Walz said. With that being said, he says, I'm not interested in a more efficient metro surge. I'm ready for them to get out of here. And I think that's where Minnesotans are. So it was progress. Takes digs at Trump's deputies, right? Takes digs at the process, but it's like, there's a tone shift and we're going to be making some progress here. Not the same story, I don't believe, with Jacob Fry. Sounds like he wants the protesting and the fighting in the streets to rage on. And there's this great article from Post Millennial I want to read to you because it kind of underscores maybe he hasn't gotten the same deal that Tim Walz. Maybe I'm full of it, but I think there was something happening. Fry says Minneapolis won't comply with federal immigration law after Homan meeting. Now, why would he do that? And Trump actually put out a truth about that. Would somebody like to tell Mayor Fry that he should probably cooperate with us, that the optics that he's creating are poor? This is super interesting because Trump looks like the olive branch giver. He's the guy who's like, look, I ran on something. I won on that. The majority of people don't want criminal, illegal aliens in their country. They don't want criminals, period. So I ran on this. We're going to provide these services. Can we change the optics of it? Can we pull some people back and make some personnel moves like any CEO does of a company? And he's the CEO of America. Yes. And that's what I've done. And we're going to hopefully calm things down, get law and order in gear. And here's Jacob Fry. I will not comply. We will not work with ICE. That's a very interesting approach. And this is where the optics Olympics get very interesting because the public perception of what is going on there is going to bleed its way into the midterms. Trump is either going to win on this issue or he's not. And he has no intention of dying on this hill. I want you to hear Tom Homan on with Laura Ingraham yesterday, and he's cut and dry. He's like, look, I've been doing this a long time. There are rules. You're welcome to come protest. We believe in your right. However, there is a line. And as we've all experienced, it's not in your best interests to cross it. Let us do our jobs and let us get out of your community. Listen.
This job and these people who want to say follow ICE, and film ICE, You know what? You can protest. They have that right. But when you cross that line, and we've proven it, if you interfere or impede or assault an ICE officer, you will be prosecuted. And one thing I'm pushing for right now, Laura, we're going to create a database. Those people that are arrested for interference, impediment, assault, we're going to make them famous. We're going to put their face on TV. We're going to let their employers in their neighborhoods, in their schools, know who these people are. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they say they're taking time off work to protest. I bet you a lot of them are calling in sick. I bet you a lot of their employers don't know what they're doing. But we're going to make sure everybody knows who they are. We're going to broadcast. They want to broadcast the ICE officer that was nearly killed all over the internet. We're going to broadcast every one of these people we arrest.
I think it's a very interesting conversation. Come if you want. Keep your distance. If you need to shoot and shoot video of what we're doing, whatever. But do not cross that line. We will find you if you are a malignant ne'er-do-well, and we're going to create some kind of a system that we can put your picture out on the internet with all of our social media affiliates and the new media from the independent journalists out there who have now supplanted the mainstream media, right? We'll get your faces out there. We'll make you famous. Absolutely. We're going to do our jobs. We'd like to do it safely. Please stay away or else. Mayor Jacob Fry writes this. Today, Chief O'Hara and I, this is the guy also who's not from Minnesota, who's the police chief of Minneapolis, and I met with border czar Tom Homan and had a productive conversation. I reiterated that my main ask is for Operation Metro Surge to end as quickly as possible. Public safety works best when it's built on community trust, not tactics that create fear or division. Isn't that such an interesting line? Do you ever notice how they're never interested in the fear and the division that people who've invaded this country with criminal records present to all of us? Why are they never worried about that? Why are they never worried about that? Why don't they talk about it on the news? How about the 37-year-old woman who was found beheaded in a container on the property of an illegal alien with a long criminal record from Mexico, right? How about the mother and the daughter who were killed last July by a Mexican criminal illegal alien with a rap sheet longer than my arm who was driving drunk and without a license? Why do these names never matter? And now Jacob Fry is saying, you know what? I'm not interested in cooperating with you. And Donald Trump said, little man, okay. Try me. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Kevin O'Leary, Shark Tank guy, Mr. Wonderful, he's on a panel with two toxic broads. Tiffany Cross, failed MSNBC, failed talk show or rather TV host, and Abby Phillip. And they're talking specifically about what happened yesterday in Minneapolis to Ilhan Omar. He's like, where's the money? They're like, don't talk about the money. We want to know why Ilhan Omar was a victim. It's a fascinating unwinding of liberalism in 2 minutes or less. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I love him too because he's just like, this is what's going on. This is the story. This is what we're talking about. And they try to like pull him into other things. And he's like, no, let's talk about what's their story there. It's the fraud. Where's all the money? Where did it go? How do we get it back? Right? We'll come out with that.
Should we hit the sounder?
Absolutely, because that's what the Optics Olympics require.
You want to hear this news about?
Yes, Juicy Smollier, Ilhan Omar. Let me tell you about Dr. Simkevich and the Simkevich Concussion Institute. The number of us who will fall at some point in our lifetimes, falling as cause for concussion. Huge, right? We think about people running full speed into each other, playing football, being in an accident, being injured in battle, falling off your roof. You know, of course, you get concussions and what do you do? But you know what? It's a lot more than that. People fall all the time, and a fall and a bonk on your head that sloshes your brain around it does imperceptible damage on an x-ray that you know about, and Dr. Simkovich can feel with his fingers when he puts his hands in your mouth, moves things around. And we know people, our dear friend who had essential tremor that was so bad that she thinks is 70 to 75% improved now. She's had this for 40 years and goes to Dr. Simkovich 4 days in a row for like 2 hours. And he reduces her shaking by 70%. Like, people with chronic headaches, people who know that they've been hurt, who know they're not correct. He can fix you. He can make you feel better again. He can make you feel like you're in control. And that's what matters most. 412-366-3700. 412-366-3700. Simkovich Concussion Institute.com. Has anybody seen Darius? Is he out there? Has he come back yet since his mom?
He said February.
Oh, he's not going to be back until February. Okay. I just didn't know how he was doing after his mom's sudden passing. Spar, are you being threatened by somebody? No. Happy Barbie Blonde, are you threatening me? Uh-oh. I hope not. I hope you're teasing. I don't know.
Are you threatening me?
Yeah, Cher, thanks for that. I haven't either. I love Kevin O'Leary.
You gotta love people that they just don't care what you think about them. Like,
what do you mean, like Trump?
Yeah, like they're not afraid to say things because they really don't care what you think.
Tom Homan's that way, and he's just cut or dry. He's always been the same dude. He was the guy who Barack Obama honored, gave him a medal. Same guy, right? Good at his job. See how you guys are doing.
Oh, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio's in the hot seat today.
Yes, he is. Senate Foreign Relations Committee.
Something to watch when I get home.
Something like that, right?
Maybe I'll have bourbon tonight.
Wow. Bourbon?
Yeah. What?
What?
I got a cough.
I look like I need a tan. Don't I?
No.
Yes, I do. I'm so pasty.
No.
You look fabulous.
You look wonderful.
Can we get some rumbles? I've stopped begging, and they just don't happen anymore. So I don't want to sound desperate, but
you're desperate.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. So the president said it on the Will Cain show yesterday, and it's obvious. He's like, obviously, what's going on? All these protests in Minneapolis and the unnecessary deaths of 2 American citizens is so that we don't pay attention to the big story. And that is the fraud that's been going on in that state, demonstrably, at least for a decade, you know. Oh, we do have breaking news. Oh my gosh.
Wendy Bell, breaking news.
My goodness, I was remiss. Here's, you got breaking news from Liz Cullen. She's the one who's been kicking so much butt in Minneapolis. From Alpha News, she says, breaking, sources tell me it was apple cider vinegar that Representative Ilhan Omar was sprayed with at last night's event. That has a hazmat team. She apparently has confirmed that. It was apple cider vinegar. Like, look. I mean, like, come on. That, honest to goodness, apple cider. They couldn't come up with something more inventive than that. Oh, yeah? I'll show you. Right? I don't get it. I don't get it. And they were like, he's a Trump supporter. There's some stories about who this wacky guy is. Like, I don't even care. Do you really care? He's like Paul Pelosi's boyfriend with the vibrating hammer, right? Right? He came in and he was like, where's Nancy? Or Paul Pelosi's gay and was having sex with this weird guy. And things went haywire because they're doing drugs or whatever. I don't know. And things went haywire and he went, hi-ya, when the police showed up, right? Meanwhile, Nancy knows all about it. She's got all sorts of cameras around the place. She's got her eyes on Paul. And by the way, he's the one who's making all of their stock trades. Right. Anyway, so that's what's going on. Okay. Now, before I get long on the time here, I want you to hear Kevin O'Leary make total mincemeat out of Abby Phillip, who is a twit who interrupts every conservative guest on her panel on CNN, and Tiffany Cross, who's a toxic black woman, liberal weirdo, who insists and finger wags and is sanctimonious and does that thing that all people hate, especially men. Listen to Kevin O'Leary totally destroy them.
Simple question. Why is all this happening in Minneapolis? Why? Why has this become the domestic war zone? What is the reason? Is there a specific area that has caused this? Why? Because I think that's really the question. On a bipartisan basis, why is that not a reasonable question?
Let me just ask you.
Why
let me
this
just answer.
place?
Let me offer some possibilities. Minneapolis is a city of fewer than 500,000 people. The Trump administration decided to send 3,000 federal officers to that one city.
Why did they send them?
Which is more than they have sent anywhere else,
did they
including
send
Chicago of 3 million, Los Angeles.
But why?
Anywhere. Why? Well, according to Trump, it's because they're going after fraud. But again,
could there be fraud, Abby? Maybe.
Minneapolis is not unique.
What about that
having
fraud?
jails
what about
that don't
fraud?
let ICE in, but they
but if you're going to go after fraud,
you send thousands of federal officers on the ground. That is the only part
why don't
about
we
this
just
that
talk
is
about
unique.
fraud for a minute?
But it's not fraud, Kevin. Like, that is BS.
What is
so
it?
he's saying fraud.
A lot of money missing.
A
lot of money missing.
Use these unless it's
taxpayers are asking.
They're sending them. He is targeting Minnesota because he keeps claiming he won it. He has not, and they are already trying to sow discord.
I think you're deflecting the issue
I'm not
of the
deflecting,
money
because what
that's
we're talking
missing.
about is a congresswoman who got attacked tonight.
You know what I
So
like
you're
about
deflecting.
fraud? It's
So
binary.
let me just answer your question. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was attacked tonight. That is the actual issue.
What does that have to do with fraud?
Understandably, that's not the topic that we're talking about.
Oh, well, I'm talking about fraud right now.
Okay, well, right now you're listening.
Kevin.
No, I'm asking about fraud.
I'm asking about fraud. You broads want to deflect and have it be. She was victimized by apple cider vinegar. Right. And he's like, he asks 3 very simple questions. Why? Right? Why? What about the fraud? And where is the money? And they're like, I have to interrupt you. I have to interrupt. No, it's not about that. It's about 3,000. Really? It's about Ilhan Omar getting attacked. Do you guys want to take the optics? And sadly, you guys have lost the Olympics. You guys didn't even place. You didn't even scrounge up a bronze. So I love when the left doesn't realize the truth in their words. Like, why are they sending that many people to Minnesota? Why, if the population is so low? Why it's disproportionate? Why? Well, there are, 9 sanctuary counties. And Minneapolis happens to be one of them, where 63% of all violent confrontations with ICE happen. Want to know what the others are? Newark, New York City, Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. The top 9 non-cooperating counties are the ones responsible for 63% of the violent confrontations with ICE. So why ever would it be that the president would surge with thousands of people when your local authorities and your governor refuse to cooperate? And you know that the fraud there is the true story. When we come back, hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program, my friends. Democrats scrambling in these blue state hellscapes near you. Seems like Josh Shapiro here in Pennsylvania is worried that ICE and the IRS are coming here next. Next. Tiffany Cross. I'm telling you what.
I can't get past the speech impediment.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what, and I'll speak for all men, because women hate it too. The sanctimonious black woman that you see in media, these people who believe in all that, the Joy Reids, the Sunny Hostins, the Whoopi Goldbergs in Hollywood, on television, who want to go like this to you, particularly if you're a man. you know what? If you do less of this and more of this, I could throw you down the stairs, sweetheart, real quick. Real quick. It's so condescending. It's so rude. It's so off-putting, and it just makes you look at women like that and be like, I'm not even going to give you an opportunity because I already don't like you. Not a shame. Guilty.
Who would have thought your pantry could be so dangerous?
I'm telling you, apple cider. And
She
by the way,
smells like a salad.
for the people there to be like, oh my God, it's a toxic apple. What is that? It's like if you cook. I know damn well what apple cider vinegar smells like, right? And they're just like, it's so smelly. What is that? Oh, that was my leftover vinaigrette from my salad.
It'd have been better. At least add some color to it.
Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, you can't make it up. All right,
But you can, and they do.
Yes.
Remember,
there you go. Where's Juicy when you
There's
need
Juicy.
him? Oh, Juicy. Okay, so I want to talk to you guys. I want to tell you guys about this. Ah! Sorry. Okay, so I told you about Blood Flow 7. I tell you about it every day. I take it every day. I have very few things that I take. This is one of them. Froggy. Oh, that was very nice, Froggy. Thank you for that, sweetheart. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Getting more blood flowing through your body does amazing things for you. Amazing things for your brain. Lack of forgetfulness. I've noticed that. I seem to be more focused. Endurance, physical strength, the ability to do things that normally would wind you or tucker you out. You can walk farther. You can lift more. This is my experience. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Now, if you are exercising and if you are doing stuff, I want to highly recommend this to you as well, the NAD Plus. This is muscle recovery and longevity, and this is why it's so important. If you're over 40 and recovery keeps getting harder for you, it's not just age, it's what's happening inside your cells. So as we get older, this thing called NAD+, which is a coenzyme in all living cells, the levels of that naturally decline. It's critical for cellular energy and muscle recovery. And when it drops, muscles repair much more slowly. Strength gains kind of stall, and muscle loss becomes a real concern. So this is designed to go with this, and also the Alpha Gold Male, which addresses the testosterone issue for a lot of men, and says, look, you put these together and you have the perfect 1-2 punch. Improve your blood flow so you can do more and not peter out, not crash, and sleep like a boulder. And then add this to it so that you recover faster and you don't stall on your progress, right? This is what I'm doing. I'm finding great success in this. I like sharing it with you, especially if you're over the age of 40. It matters. And you don't think about it. You don't think you need anything until you try it. And you're like, dang, I feel terrific. I feel terrific. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy. Read about it. And let me just tell you quickly. These are the ingredients. Nitrosygene. That is nitric oxide. And then you have green coffee bean extract, green tea leaf extract, turmeric root extract, blueberry, broccoli, tart cherry, and kale. And some transresveratrol, black pepper fruit extract as well. So you're not going to big pharma. You're not like, I can't stay awake. You feel great on this stuff. You're going to love it. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy.
Grant Stinchfield rated the stream.
Oh, that's awful nice. Hey, Grant, do you remember when I filled in for you and I pissed off Dick? What's his face? Morris.
Speaking
live because he was saying something and I'm like, that's not true. And he was so pissed, and I think he called Chris Ruddy, who owns Newsmax, because it was weird. I never got asked back, but I'm like, dude, Grant would push back on you. Uh-oh. Why is my stupid phone? God bless America. All right, what are you sending me there? All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Sources tell me it was Apple cider. Okay, no, that was it. Florida Surgeon General Joe's Ladapo just revoked the nursing. Let's go. That woman was a scary biatch.
What even makes you say something?
I
like
hope
that?
Caroline Levitt rips with her baby from bow to stern and suffers some horrible problem and dies. Said a nurse. A nurse. What is up with you white college-educated toxic liberal chicks? It is so unbecoming. So unbecoming. Knock it off. And the black woman, too. The black woman, like, take your fake nails and go somewhere else. That's not what we're doing. We're actually trying to fix problems here. And you suck. God, it's almost like I had something to say. Sorry. Anyway, Brock, what else is going on? How are you guys on the stream? What's happening? Hi, Sunny Day. Hey, Ultra. Wendy is getting around to the nurses. I'm telling you what, like, honest to God, she was a delivery nurse.
Nothing surprises me there anymore with liberals. They'll say absolutely anything.
That's freaking nuts.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
You know, the Washington game, we're losing sight of what happened here. People unelected simply because they don't like a guy's hairstyle or like where he came from, decided the American people's decision was invalid and began a systematic process to get him thrown out of office. This is a silent coup. These guys, if you ask me, ought to be the ones in jail. They ought to be the ones under investigation. What they have done working with agents from the Obama intelligence agencies is simply unprecedented. This is one of the greatest political hoaxes that has ever been perpetrated on the people of this country, certainly in a couple of generations.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. As always, it is a delight and a joy to spend some time with you. I so appreciate you being here. And if you haven't joined us on the live video stream and hopped in the chat and joined in and said some stuff and chatted with me in the commercial breaks, I hope you do. WendyBellRadio.com is how you go there. So I live in a Democrat blue hellscape, okay? And I love Pennsylvania. I've told you endlessly about Pennsylvania. And Joe and I want to move. Our youngest sons are about to go to college. And we'd like to figure out another place where we can go, where we shovel less snow, where the neighborhood politics aren't as toxic. And when I can put out a flag that says we back the blue, that doesn't get vandalized. Where my son's cars don't have the windows smashed or the tires flattened. Where our Christmas lights aren't cut, right? It just seems time. And I think about where I want to go. I want to be by the sea. I love to fish. I love the surf. I love the sun. I love to golf. Where can we go that is as beautiful as Pennsylvania with hills, with the topography that it has, that's warmer and maybe a little bit closer to the beach? Because this place called Pennsylvania, the politics, has become so toxic. It's not worth it. Our property taxes are out of control. The city services suck. I believe that our county here in Pittsburgh, Allegheny, is as fraudulent as they come. And we have a new mayor now whose number one comment after his inauguration was to stand proudly and say, we're going to resist ICE. No, dude. No, see, that's not what we want. We want roads and bridges that are structurally sound and that function. We want plows and trucks that don't break down. 37 out of 100 trucks broke down during the storm of the last several years that we had this week. I mean, like, come on. We want a police department that actually is staffed so that if somebody breaks into my house between 3 and 7 in the morning, there's a cop who will respond to my 911. And I won't get, "We're sorry." If you'd like to talk to somebody, call back during normal operating hours, right? It's not complicated. And we were all very curious when Josh Shapiro, then Attorney General of the state of Pennsylvania, said in 2020, it was the safest, most secure election ever. What would make somebody say that? Well, Josh Shapiro seems to be a little nervous about the Trump administration, and the hundreds of auditors that we heard from the president tell Will Cain yesterday are on the ground in Minnesota because that's what needs to be done. You know, you guys can talk about the optics of the protests. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of what you're doing in a Doge style fashion. Well, we're going to start with this. Pennsylvania officials seem to be going on a full court press against ICE, against this administration. Methinks the land before time, as I call Pennsylvania, is about to get audited and maybe cleared of its criminal alien population. It would be odd for DA Larry Krasner, funded by George Soros, because Larry Krasner is a deep state agent of suck. He comes out like, "Oh yeah, if ICE comes here, I'm going to go after him." Oh, sit down, you willow. Okay? Right? When you go full court press on us, we know. We will find you. This is the Gateway Pundit headline. We will find you. Democrat Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner vows to hunt down ICE agents for decades, like Nazis were hunted. Does that seem a little over the top to you? Really? Don't you think that if you were part of an elected apparatus of a pretty busy and problematic community such as Philadelphia, right? Got a lot of problems in these cities, these sanctuary cities, right? Wouldn't you be like, "I'd kind of welcome having a little assistance getting rid of the criminal element"? No, not if you're part of the criminal element, right? You're like, ICE, I'm going to hunt you down. This is nutty. Democrat Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner spoke at an anti-ICE rally at City Hall Tuesday, where he vowed to hunt down ICE agents for decades, the way Nazis were after World War II. He said that he's teaming up with state prosecutors to deliver, quote, accountability to ICE agents enforcing the federal government's immigration laws. This is defend the police on steroids, demonize ICE. Okay. But it's this, as we report that attacks on ICE agents are up 8,000%. In what world should you wake up in the morning and kiss your family goodbye to do an honorable job, a dirty job, a thankless job that we should all be so respectful of, so appreciative of, to be a part of law enforcement in this country, put your life on the line, and have militant Karen, kamikaze Karens out there, your white college-educated, suburban, toxic, liberal soccer moms who decide to become vigilantes, right? Listen to Josh Shapiro, though. He's on with Jake Tapper last night, governor of Pennsylvania. And Jake is like, "Oh, I hear that ICE is coming to you, dude. Woo, that's going to be difficult. Why is this like a big deal? We should all be like, yes. Yes. Thank goodness we're next. Let's go." That's not the vibe of this conversation. Listen.
Get those officials out of Minneapolis. They might be coming to Pennsylvania cities. You've said that if Pittsburgh or Philly or any other city in Pennsylvania is the next spot for the ICE raids, you've been planning for it, you say, and the courts and communities have started preparing. What exactly does that look like? You write in your book about having a track record of working across party lines. Will you work with the Trump administration, or what is the plan?
I'll work with anyone to keep the people of Pennsylvania safe, and I will also stand up to anyone that tries to undermine the safety and security of a community. We work with our law enforcement partners at the federal, obviously state and local level to keep people safe. And as a result of that work, violent crime is down 12% in Pennsylvania. Fatal gun violence is down about 43% in our Commonwealth. We've invested in hiring 2,000 more police officers, and we've invested hundreds of millions of dollars in violence prevention initiatives at the local level. What we are doing is working. What we don't want are outside forces coming in and eroding that trust and creating chaos.
I'll work with anybody, says the governor of Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, the goofball guy who's the new sheriff of Bucks County, who comes out his job number one, we won't work with ICE. So your local sheriff in this county is saying, yeah, I don't think so. You're setting yourself up for another Minneapolis. So what's so bad in Pennsylvania, pray tell, that they don't want you to know about, right? Well, it wasn't the priest's pedophile scandal that Josh Shapiro, as Attorney General, flushed out, did nothing with. I don't remember if any arrests were made, if there was any restitution for anybody in that regard. But he's not done. Josh Shapiro comes back. He says, look, I'm going to dust off an old leftist talking point. This president, he sows. It's a big one. They sow chaos and division. You need to come up with a new playbook. Josh Shapiro knows Trump is coming, that this administration is coming, and he's scared. Ask yourself why.
Donald Trump and his administration love to put themselves out there as the party of law and order. What we see from them is not law and order, but chaos and division. And I would argue that I believe they are acting outside the bounds of the law in Minneapolis, and not just the two incidents that resulted in the death of Mr. Preddy and Miss Good, but just the very premise of their mission being there. I think that's outside the law and the bounds of the 10th Amendment, And so it is something we are prepared for, and I will work with anyone to keep people safe, but I'll stand up to anyone that undermines that safety.
Well, that is so interesting. Wasn't Pennsylvania one of the suck blue states that banded together? It was Tom Wolf, then the governor here, who kept his family cabinet business open while everybody else shut down during COVID. He partnered with who else? Oh, they partnered with Connecticut and Maryland and with New York and New Jersey and Michigan and Massachusetts. We're all going to band together, and we're going to do something really great during COVID, right? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take sick elderly people. We're going to take them out of hospitals to make space, and we're going to bring them back into nursing homes so they can infect everybody and kill everybody. Great job. How many thousands of people in Pennsylvania killed because of these idiots? And Josh Shapiro wants to tell you that we're only going to work with people who are going to keep us safe. Well, that ship has sailed, Joshy. I think so. Meantime, this is going on. Democrats want blood, of course, and they want Kristi Noem. She's going to be the sacrificial lamb, and Trump says, yeah, no. He had a 2-hour meeting with her in the Oval yesterday, and they come out, and reporters are like, so, are you going to fire her? It's the only way. And he's like, no, Kristi, she's fantastic. We love what she's doing. She's great. I thanked her for her job, and she's going to do other things right now as well, but we're all cool with that. Zero changeover, ladies, in the Trump administration, year number 1. That's pretty daggone impressive. Meanwhile, I wanted to leave you before the commercial break with the audio of this gentleman. This is a sound of common sense. This is a man in Iowa. Trump is in Iowa. He's going to be touring the country ahead of the midterms. He's going to be telling you about the agenda. He's going to be telling you about the successes of this administration. And he's in Iowa yesterday, and CNN or whoever it is asking this guy, well, what do you think? This is the best 20 seconds I heard today.
You make of what's happening in Minnesota?
Just let them be there and do their job, period. Leave ICE alone. Getting in front of people's faces and doing this to ICE is total horse hockey in my opinion. Donald Trump is doing what the people elected him to do, get rid of the illegal immigration. That's
hello, bing, 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 get out of his way, let him do what he's got to do. We voted for this. This is what we wanted. Thank you, sir. Horse hockey. Love him. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, thank goodness if you don't live in Virginia, because if you do, the whole thing that you just got out of your new governor and all of these new Democrats, oh boy, they want to double their pay in the state, right? Wow, while they sack you with higher taxes. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. It's ridiculous. Josh Shapiro, you look a little nervous. What's going on? Brock, what do you put on your tinfoil? What do you see there? There's a lot of jazz going on here.
What do you mean? What do I see there?
What do you see? What do you think he's worried about here in Pennsylvania? What kind of grifts are going on here?
I think he's worried about the voter fraud.
Hmm.
Because this is the same guy who said, if I believe right, 3 days before the election, when all the votes are counted, Joe Biden will be victorious, which he had trouble. Josh Shapiro had trouble beating some unknown lady, too.
And then as Sean Parnell was leading, and then all of a sudden he lost. And then we had a treasurer that was winning, Heidi Heidelbaugh. I believe she's a lawyer, badass from Mizzou, love her. And she ended up losing. And you're like, really? I'm so curious how that works out. I hate everyone. I know. I'm sorry. I really don't. I'm just tired of being disappointed by everybody. You know? It's exhausting. Healthy Cell. Don't be exhausted. All right, wait. Oh, I just brought in my new Focus and Recall. Okay, we all do it. And by the way, I've even watched my adult sons do it, where they walk into the room and they're like, why am I here? Like, see, it happens young. Focus and Recall. But it really accelerates in your 40s, where you literally, you're walking into the garage to get something from the refrigerator or what have you, and you forget what it is when you get to the refrigerator. And you're like, damn it, that's scary. Well, I find that when you speak for a living and you don't want to sound like a moron, a little Focus and Recall does the body good. I take one of these every single day before the show, and I have for more than a year. And I don't think I'm handicapped that I need it. I feel confident when I take it, because the feeling I have is clarity, and you begin to kind of see things clear up in your vision, right? And you can focus on tasks and not be easily distracted. And I even gave Bobby and Chris, Schmobby and Shriss, they're still minors, this to take before they took the SAT. And I should say they both kicked arse on the SAT. So Focus and Recall, healthycell.com/Wendy. The REM sleep is fantastic. All of the formulations. It's getting supplements into your system through a microgel formula, which is more easily absorbed and digested by your gut. And if your gut is wacky, nothing's getting through, baby. healthycell.com/Wendy. Love them.
Frog, you give him more.
What?
$10. Christy Nome is the sexiest grandmother in America.
Right? She's younger than I am. I think she's 54. Have you seen her arms? Her arms are ripped. Ripped. She's total badass. Like when she puts on the bulletproof vest and the ball cap and all that stuff, I'm like, that's kind of hot.
Lady in the ball cap.
I mean, I don't love women like that. I love women, but I don't love women like that. But I could see how a guy would be like, how you doing? She's hot. Badass. Honest. Was that too much information? A little too much? Okay, sorry. Where are we? What are we doing again? All right. This is wild. Wild, wild, wild.
Did you see the text I sent you?
No. Oh, my goodness.
Pay attention to me.
I'm sorry. Ooh, Indivisible sent me something. Wow, he's not wearing a schmedium. Tom Fitton over at Judicial Watch, who our friend and Joe, my husband. Sent me this as a tweet. I know you guys pay attention to Judicial Watch. And my friend Christina Bobb, who is just a badass, she works as a lawyer with Judicial Watch. There's no reason I just connected those dots. I just did. But this is the story. Oregon, according to Judicial Watch, has just been caught with 800,000 ineligible voters on their rolls, now being purged after a Judicial Watch lawsuit. Nationwide, 6 million have been cleaned up so far. All blue state rolls must be purged. We received word from Oregon that after a Judicial Watch lawsuit was filed to clean up the rolls in Oregon, they removed 800,000 names, or about to remove 800,000 names. At least 160,000 will be removed immediately. The rest to be removed at a future time. And all of this resulted, obviously, from our federal lawsuit. Tom Fitton from Judicial Watch says to clean up the rolls. So that means our prior litigation and legal actions that caused the removal of 5 million names, dirty names from the rolls, is now nearly up to 6 million. 6 million. Don't you guys ever, when somebody terrible like, I don't know, Abigail Spanberger, who's scary as nuts, right? She gets elected in Virginia, and you're like, come on, Virginia's not. They're not crazy. How many people are actually not real who are electing these losers? Because I want to read this to you. Virginia Democrats want to, I'm just going to pull it up and read it. Virginia Democrats now seeking to double their own pay as they raise taxes after running on affordability. This is Gateway Pundit. Make it make sense. It's like Zoran Mamdani. We're going to lower the price of everything, free childcare, rent freezes, blah, blah, blah. Well, in order to do that, we need to raise $10 billion. So we're going to raise your taxes. Suck it, right? Oh, you mean that? Democrats in Virginia ran on affordability, but everything they have done since retaking power there says the exact opposite. The tax rate in Virginia is poised to become the highest in the nation, beating even California, and they're trying to create a whole new slew of new taxes. Bend over. Now they're trying to give themselves a pay raise that is basically double what they already make. Newsbusters, you know I love newsbusters.org, broke the story. I mean, after campaigning on affordability, Virginia state Democrats have introduced a measure to more than double their salaries. Now that fellow Democrat Abigail Spanberger is in the governor's mansion, giving them control of all three branches of their state's government. Congratulations. You're on that bullet train in California that never got built, but you're on it to look just like California. They're now trying to give themselves that pay raise after proposing thousands of dollars in new taxes, hammering working families. The Virginia Senate Republican caucus warned in an X.com post, highlighting how the legislators' pay raise would hurt taxpayers. They ran on affordability, but all they've done is introduce insane left-wing policies and take from your pocket to line their own. Total con job. Indeed, an amendment to the Virginia state budget, Senate Bill 30, introduced by Democrats L. Louise Lucas in the state Senate and Vivian Edna Watts. I'm going to go with these are women of color, right? These are Democrats who are like, they're going to Abby Phillip and Tiffany Cross. We're going to get pay raises and you're going to like it, right? It's almost like you saw it coming before Election Day. And so with Judicial Watch uncovering up to 6 million fake voters on the rolls, you've got these sanctuary cities and states that refuse to hand their stuff over. And who did we just hear from yesterday? Oh, right. That guy who looked like Tales from the Crypt. He looked like a corpse, the Secretary of State. What's his name? Steve something or other, Simon in Minnesota. He's like, we won't comply. The Trump administration, the ask is egregious. They want social security numbers of our voters and their driver's license numbers. And we're like, I'm pretty sure China already has all that stuff. So what are you worried about, Steve-O? Worried about what they're going to find. Yeah. Is that what you're worried about, Josh Shapiro here in Pennsylvania? It sounds a little scared. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the scams and the schemes that never cease, especially not on Capitol Hill. Did you know members of Congress literally own empty buildings that they lease to the federal government that aren't filled? Right? Wait until you hear this story. It'll tick you off next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
It's funny you talk about affordability breaking. Mayor Mondami says New York City is facing a fiscal crisis at the scale of the Great Recession.
Wow.
That means looking inward into saving and efficiencies that also mean raising taxes on the wealthiest New Yorkers and the most profitable corporations.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you go. It's a shocker. What? Meanwhile, you have a Trump who's like, no tax on tips. We need to bring down the cost of rent, right? We need to pulverize inflation. We need to get gas prices down. These are the things that actually matter. We need to get all of the illegals here. We'll start with the criminals out, so we don't have a housing crisis anymore. How about it? I like it. And then he works on it, and then the left tries to stop him because those are all of their grifts. It's almost like we can see Tim Burchett though he's making waves, baby. He's a boyfriend. If Brock can have Harriet Hageman, Tim Burchett, all mine. Uh-oh, you're sending me more stuff. Let me tell you quickly about the Disc Institute of Pittsburgh, Dr. Richard Rafferty, and the Pittsburgh Disc Institute. 4 out of 5 of us. I was literally blown away when I started doing research into back problems. And 4 out of 5 of us in our lifetimes will need a spinal specialist. For what reason? Well, standing up, and especially I think if you carry extra weight, but I don't think that's necessarily the only reason. You can squish, right? Discs that are kind of spongy and are supposed to buoy, when you move and whatnot, not pinch nerves in between your vertebrae. When those things degenerate and get out of place, you get bone on bone, you get pinched nerves, you got a lot of pain. It's miserable. And oftentimes you're like, I know I have to have surgery. But if we're all smart, it would make sense to try to fix the problem without having somebody cutting into your spine. And that is what Dr. Rafferty does. That's why I send people, go to PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, DISC, PittsburghDiscInstitute.com, or call 412-906-9600. And talk to them about intradisc nutrosis. Talk to them if you could be a candidate. Get an MRI. If you haven't had one, they'll help you get one. See if you're a candidate. Non-invasive, non-surgical. Grow your discs back and fix your pain. 98% successful. PittsburghDiscInstitute.com. I love him. He's great. Love him. I love that he's gotten business from Bad Joke Friday, because there are people out there who are like, I have pain and I went to go see Dr. Rafferty because he enjoys Bad Joke Friday with you on Fridays. He's always your first joke. Isn't that cute? Very cute.
Trump says he could nominate Ted Cruz for the U.S. Supreme Court. He's a brilliant legal mind. If nominated for him, the U.S. Supreme Court, I'd get 100% of the votes. The Dems will vote because they want him out of the Senate, and Republicans will vote for him because they want to get him the hell out too.
Wow, what you just sent me. I got to see if that story, if there's an actual story there. This is what's going on. It's election fraud and it's waste and abuse. FBI, right? Fulton County. Let's see. Yes. Who do we trust? Fox 5 Atlanta, Fox News, Reuters, or the Washington Post? Or the New York Post. I like the New York Post, but they have too many ads. It's frustrating to read his story there. Ooh.
$10 billion project budget deficit for New York.
We will read. I like to read the Washington Post and others. Let's see. I am a member of that. See, I have to pay for this. All right. Next. Use password. My finger. Let's see. That's interesting. Yeah, I think Marco Rubio, he's like,
I can't wait to go home and watch it.
he's one of the people who you really can't find fault with.
Well, his hand size, apparently.
His hand size?
Didn't Trump say he has small hands, little Marco? Little more.
Is that why you called him that?
I don't. No, they said Trump had small hands.
Insinuating what?
I have no
Small
idea.
penis?
Yeah,
Is that a correlation?
I don't know.
I don't know. I live with 6 men and a dog who's a boy. I can't say I can confirm or deny that. This has gotten now a
Poor
little
Murphy.
bit bizarre.
I called him Stinky.
He is stinky. He needs to be. But his ears don't stink anymore. Thanks, Dr. Mike. Question on the dating game, Brock. That's the one that won it for me. I got to find you guys the dating game tape from 1988 when I actually won.
We've all, including me, have been waiting.
I know. I have to. It's somewhere. I'll figure it out. Okay, so we came back. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. Brock just shared something with me, and I think we need to read this together. It just crossed from the Washington Post. You know, I like to give you guys a little liberal perspective. So I try to choose, like I'll choose Al Jazeera, the BBC, Reuters, right? NPR. We'll read you their take on stories. Let's see what the Washington Post wants to do with this. Apparently the FBI, as we're also supposed to be talking about, Ilhan Omar. Did you see somebody sprayed something on her? It was apple cider vinegar, and they didn't bring any lettuce. The FBI apparently is executing a search warrant in Fulton County at an elections office near Atlanta as we speak. It's just in. FBI agents are executing the search warrant. Wow. Apparently, happening as we speak. An FBI spokesperson said agents were doing this, executing a court-authorized law enforcement action at the county's main election office in Union City, just south of Atlanta. The spokesperson declined to provide any further information, citing, it's an ongoing matter. That's classified. That's top secret. That's part of an ongoing investigation. Oh, that's all part of something that I'm not allowed to talk about, right? It's all coming out, guys. Trump has said forever, and anybody with half of a brain who paid attention on November 5th or 3rd or whatever the date was in 2020, who went to bed at night, knowing that President Trump won their state and won re-election and was like, woo, I didn't think it was going to be difficult, but thank goodness. And then woke up and found out that Joe Biden, the guy who never campaigned, right? The guy who nobody liked, the guy who just got moved in there because I guess he was the best they had, the guy who plagiarized, the guy who created his own political identity off of the tragic loss of his wife and daughter and used his injured sons as a prop for his senatorial career, right? Like, that's the guy that we got. And we were all supposed to be like, oh, I could totally see all of that happen. And then when we were like, say, what? And they came out with knives, and it became the big lie. Don't you talk about the big lie. The big lie is like Lord Voldemort, he who shall not be named in Harry Potter. Shh. And then January 6th, because more people were talking about it. And oh yeah, wasn't that the wiretapping? Weren't they investigating? Wasn't that what Jack Smith was doing? He wanted to know what 8 Senate Republicans were doing, talking with whom between the election and January 6th. Why ever would that be? Trump has said it from the beginning. The election was rigged. It was stolen. We know it. You can't in real time, if you're not being screwed, lose votes on election day, right? And yeah, we watched the tally go down and down. And I was like, that's odd. Huh. And then we saw people get rounded up and put in sham trials, none of which were ever covered, by judges who threw the book at the January 6ers and threw them in prison to be forgotten forever. Some of them who weren't even physically in Washington, D.C. And you and I saw this and we were like, that just doesn't make sense. In fact, we know what it is. And they came after us, and some of us lost our jobs, and some of us were doxxed, and some of us were demonized, demonetized, all of that, right? Why? It's almost like we know. Meanwhile, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has been giving his much anticipated congressional testimony about Venezuela, talking about what's going on. We're going to have all of that for you tomorrow, but I don't want to get too distracted here. So Tim Burchett, I love this guy. He's the guy from Tennessee who says every single time he puts out a video, thank you very much for sending me here, right? He has a daughter. He's a good guy. I believe in him. He's the new Doge chair. And he's like, did you know that there is so much corruption just on Capitol Hill that there's a whole labyrinth of congressmen and women who own real estate. They own buildings in the whole complex of DC that they rent to the federal government. Right? The federal government pays money for that aren't being filled because nobody's going to work, right? And the federal government just got slashed, right? And these are the same people who pass tax breaks for real estate investors. Make it make sense. Tim Burchett said, we're looking into this, and what we're going to drop on you right around tax day, because we're auditing freaking everything. And he's telling, who's he talking to here? He's talking to Benny Thompson.
Johnson.
Sorry, Benny Johnson. I want you to hear. Here is your Doge Committee Chairman, Representative Tim Burchett, saying, look, we're looking at the D.C. buildings that U.S. taxpayers pay for. And we've learned that members of Congress own some of them and are charging rent to the government for them not to be used. It's disgusting, and it's standard operating.
Marjorie Taylor Greene had us in there in a building that was basically empty. That was the people that were supposed to be overseeing our real estate. And I asked the question, are members of Congress owning real estate? And the guys that are being rented to the federal government in Washington, D.C. And the guy said, yeah, they are. And it stopped right there. Nothing. And that should have been the beginning of it. And that's where I'm going to be a little different. I'm going to be on the front end of it. It's not going to be sexy, and hopefully the screaming will be back and forth because that's just the nature of politics. But we're going to eliminate that, and we're going to eliminate the corruption that has infiltrated our committee system.
You know, and isn't that crazy that saying that puts him in the crosshairs? It puts him in danger because you're gonna do what's right. You're gonna do what we voted for. We want it to be exposed. We want to know who the dark players are. Even if it's Senator Katie Britt from Alabama, who's a Republican. We're going to go after her here in a minute because I'm equal opportunity. If you're doing things you shouldn't, we should know about it. And nobody plays favorites on that. In audio soundbite number 2, he's like, look, we're continuing Doge. And Benny Johnson says your first shot will be at the IRS. Tim Burchett's like, we found, and this is a gobsmacking number. I'm going to let him tell you what they found already. Just in duplicitous garbage on Capitol Hill that you and I are paying for. No wonder all of us feel broke.
You are, as Doge chairman, going to pick up the ball and continue the work when it comes to what seems like a massive scandal, which are big federal buildings owned by members of Congress that are leased out to the federal government. I mean, private buildings owned by members of Congress, leased back to the federal government.
Yeah.
And so that's like the snake eating its tail, right?
That is the tip of the iceberg. That just shows you my frustration with this thing. I mean, anywhere you look, it's you know, we've got to not be the shotgun approach because that's where we'll be neutralized. We got to focus in on just a few things. The first thing, I think we'll have something around IRS time. What's the big complaint with the IRS, outside of the fact they're stealing your money, is that you can't ever get to them. Their technology is not intermingled. I found out that through government duplication, I've got a chart. It's just the craziest looking thing. And it shows, and my staff has uncovered basically over $1 trillion of just simple duplication within these departments that nobody is willing to tackle. It's not sexy, but we're going to tackle it. And we're going to show it to the American public, and hopefully they'll back us when we go to change the structure of government.
Oh my gosh. So right now they're digging into election fraud in Fulton County, Georgia, at the site of that water main break. Oh my gosh. Shut down the count. Everybody go home. And when you go home, we're going to put up stuff on the windows so nobody can see, but we're not doing anything. Right? Feeding all those ballots that never were creased, never folded, the mail-in ballots that were pristine through the machines. Bzz, 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 Ruby, whatever, Shea Moss and Ruby Freeman got presidential medals of freaking freedom from the Joe Biden administration for helping the cheat. It's incredible. While we have Tim Burchett digging into all of the fraud and the crap in Congress, it makes everybody rich. 8 to 9%. I said the wrong number the other day. I said it was like less than 1% of America is millionaires. No, it's about 8 to 9%. I misspoke. I apologize. When you have 50% of Congress, everybody wonder why? Why so many millionaires? Did you guys know that 5 years ago, we knew this, that Congress slipped a provision into the $2.2 trillion stimulus bill of suck that will save wealthy real estate investors billions of dollars in taxes, with some lawmakers standing to profit from the legislation meant to weather the impact of COVID that at that point had already killed tens of thousands of people and left tens of millions of people out of work? There's your Congress. Are they worried about you and your business? Are they worried about your children and how they're slipping through the cracks? Silly gooses. No, they're slipping in provisions to allow themselves to get tax breaks as owners of property on Capitol Hill that they rent to the government that you freaking pay for that nobody's in. What? And Tim Burchett's like, look, it ain't sexy, babe, but this is like an etch-a-sketch of somebody who had a seizure. They're like, "Wah," and I'm laying it all out. No offense, Brock. And I'm laying it all out for you. And we're going to take them down. And it's going to come out in about April time.
The first thing.
I'm sorry, but he's not done. Listen to this final audio soundbite. He's like, look, April's the date. Get ready.
The first thing, I think we'll have something around IRS time. What's the big complaint with the IRS, outside of the fact they're stealing your money, is that you can't ever get to them. Their technology is not intermingled. I found out that through government duplication, I've got a chart. It's just the craziest looking thing. And it shows, and my staff has uncovered basically over $1 trillion of just simple duplication within these departments that nobody is willing to tackle. It's not sexy, but we're going to tackle it. And we're going to show it to the American public, and hopefully they'll back us when we go to change the structure of government.
Can you imagine when they take away all of the grifts and the cheating and the fake people and the people who've been siphoning off of our hard-earned money? Can you imagine how much money you should have? Can you imagine how much money your elected representatives wouldn't have? And then what would they do? Because they're talented and qualified to do nothing. Nothing. And they know it, which is why the Uniparty gloms together, right? And they vote as one. That's why you've got 8 Senate Republicans who will probably try to sink the SAVE Act because they can't handle voter ID. Why? Because they wouldn't be in power anymore. Huh. Imagine that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the Republicans' All-American girl, Katie Britt, right? What'd you do, Katie? You sold a bunch of stock and you didn't report it. Why? Let's talk about it next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Anywho, yeah. You can't make it up. Ireland contracting. You just don't want to get lied to. You don't want to be swindled. You don't want to be scammed. And all of us in our lives experience that, whether you experience it as a business owner, right? Or somebody does something at your house and it's shoddy work, or it's jacked up cost and the delivery of it sucks. It's terrible. You get to the point where you're like, I don't trust anybody. I need to get it in writing. And that's what you get with Ireland contracting. So if they come out to your house and you're like, I'm worried we're getting some water in and I don't know if can we patch it? Is there something we can do? Do I need a new roof? Literally, Gary Ireland will take a ladder, crawl up on your roof, look at everything, give you an estimate of what he thinks the problem is. If there's a small fix he can make for you, he'll make it with a nominal fee. Love that. But then he'll give you a written invoice and it'll be like an estimate. It'll be like, all right, this is what I think you would need. This is when you would need it. And my estimate is good for a calendar year. So save it. And if it's something that you want to do, I'd be honored to come back and help you. Okay. Thank you. Wouldn't that be nice if Congress acted like that? Ireland contracting 1-800 new roof home exterior renovation work for Pittsburghers. Sorry.
So
1-800 new roof, IrelandContracting.com.
there was 153.8 million tax returns filed last year. If they took that trillion and gave everybody a check, $6,500, I'll take it.
Each.
Yes.
Now let's put on our tinfoil hat, because a lot of people out there believe ultimately all of the taxes that you've paid are coming back to you. Brock, yes? There's some foil. There's some Reynolds,
foil there.
Reynolds
yeah,
wrap
that I've heard
conversation.
that,
Yep.
that everything's been.
And we're not on 4chan, though I would love to. I'd love to hear it. Be like,
Yeah, I've heard that. There's people that go down some rabbit holes that I know that
reputable people who we trust
have told me that, you know.
And so how does it work?
Do I believe it? You know, I want to because
I want to. Right.
Because we've all been. See, what I was told, and this was the explanation, is that your birth certificate, the minute you're born, they've been trading your birth certificate every time that you graduate from high school. They trade it to make it more you become more valuable. They trade that.
Who's they?
College. I think it's the Rothschilds.
Oh.
Like the big banking Rothschild family.
Oh, so they've been making money off of us.
Yes.
Okay. But they're bad guys.
Like by trading cards, you know, like this guy's got a doctorate.
Mhm.
Like Joe being a doctor would probably be, you know, high up on the trading scale.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm an international racist.
I'd be a low level.
Yeah.
It'd be like
You'd be an add-on.
I'd be the card.
I'll give you him
I'd be the
too.
baseball card you stick in the spoke of your tire as a kid, right? You know, like that's who I would be.
Not true.
Joe and Wendy would be the card that gets put in a little plastic case so the corners don't get bent, so you can keep them in mint condition.
Mm-hmm. That must be what it would be.
I'd be a spoke.
Not true. At all.
Oh, we might have the mugs on Sunday.
Who wants mugs? Merch. You know, I do hear people in Congress when they are scrutinized, their finances are scrutinized, and opensecrets.org, or what did the Wales one? What's the Wales one, Brock? I know there's a Wales one that I forget. Yeah, I forget what that site is, but they pour over the investments, the portfolios, because there's rules, of course, right? And Congress people are supposed to share their value, their net worth, how their stock portfolios have done. And there have been some people who've been called out and like, hey, you did really well last year. How did you know to sell blah, blah, blah? And the House member will be like, look, I don't manage that. I don't make decisions. I understand that. Like most of us have investment advisors. And if you have money in the market, I've never been like, look, hey, Earl, here's what I want to do. I want to buy, I want to sell, and I'm like, I'm busy. I'm a mom. I've got a couple jobs. Like, do what you got to do and do it well. Okay. So I get that. But then there's this. Then there's Nancy Pelosi, right? And all this Mark Wayne Mullen. Look, I'm equal opportunity. Let's call out these people who've done better than, Warren Buffett with their portfolios, okay? Because maybe that's a little weird. Maybe we should see things that are so obvious and realize that it's okay to talk about that. Well, Senator Katie Britt, she's from Alabama. I like Katie. So we saw this, and somebody writes that this is the X account, Nancy Pelosi stock trader. And it says, well, this sucks. Senator Katie Britt just disclosed a purchase of JP Morgan while sitting on the Senate Banking Committee. JP Morgan is now up 27% since her purchase. But the worst part is you couldn't have followed it because she violated the Stock Act by disclosing this trade hundreds of days late. Her fine, $200. Less than the price of a speeding ticket in most states. Is that true? Well, she's not the only one if it is, right? This is from a website called notus.org. Senator Katie Britt violated the Stock Act with nearly 24 late disclosures. Right? It's not supposed to be complicated. You're not allowed to just not do it. But apparently, if you're in Congress, you can. Senator Katie Britt violated a federal conflicts of interest and transparency law by failing to disclose nearly 24 of her husband's stock trades, according to a NOTUS review of new congressional financial disclosures. Republican from Alabama was more than half a year past a 45-day federal deadline for disclosing 16 of her husband's stock trades, and several weeks past the deadline disclosing another 6, the disclosure indicates. Taken together, the stock trades made on behalf of her husband, Wesley Britt, former NFL player, are worth between $22,000 and $330,000. Federal lawmakers are only required to disclose the values of their trades in broad ranges. Wesley Britt's trades include shares of Amazon, Google parent Alphabet, Apple, ExxonMobil, Microsoft, NVIDIA, United Health Group, Visa, Walmart, United Parcel Service, and the bank JP Morgan Chase & Co. Britt serves on the Senate Banking Committee. In a statement to Notus, or I don't even know what it's called, Britt's Senate office blamed her husband's stockbroker for the violation of the Stock Act, which requires lawmakers to publicly disclose individual stock trades made for themselves, their spouse, or their dependent children. These individual equity trades were in Mr. Britt's broker-managed retirement account and made without his knowledge or consent. The disclosure was filed as soon as Mr. Britt became... we rail on Democrats who do that, and we rail on Republicans who do that, because you and I wouldn't be allowed to do that, would we? Let's look at the 2025 congressional portfolio performance versus the S&P 500. Let's see who the most profitable, they're pretty good at this, Brock.
And the S&P just hit its highest number ever, 7,000.
Warren Davidson, he's a Republican, apparently from Ohio, plus 78.8%. That's nice. You got Representative Donald Norcross, 70.8%. He's a Democrat. Let's see some names we know. Rick Scott, Republican. He did really well last year. He made 54.8%. How about Michael Guest, also a Republican, congressman, up 52%. Tom McClintock, California, up 50%. Let's keep going. Oh, Rand Paul, Republican, up 33%. Alyssa Slotkin, Democrat, up 33.8%. It goes on and on and on. Shows you how much money everybody... Nancy Pelosi, she only made 20%. Oh, here's Mark Wayne Mullen, Dan Crenshaw. They're pretty prolific, aren't they, Brock? We know them, right? Tommy Tuberville, Michael McCall, Republicans.
Here we are hoping for 10 to 12%.
I mean, 8% if you're lucky. You're like, that's freaking great. 50%, 78%. Can I have your guy? Come on, man. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, hour number 2, my friends, already. 3, helping the mentally ill is a pretty profitable grift in California. Oh, my. Next. Wow. Got to have a victim if you're going to fleece the system, you guys. Whether it's an autistic child, a lot of those in the Somalian population, right? People who need home health care, luring centers, daycares, transportation services, hospice. Dr. Oz is all full out. He's like,
Let's hope the weather holds out. If the weather holds out, we'll have them Sunday.
Oh.
So hopefully we can get them out before Valentine's Day.
And nothing says I love you like an AR-15 magazine from
Yes.
Wendy Bell Radio. Look at how beautiful these are. This is the second one we put out. Got a third one coming out later. I think we probably have 50 of these, hopefully, but they sell out quickly. And once they're gone, they're gone. Wendy Bell Radio. This is Clarence Thomas's North is Still North. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. It's so nice. $50. They're listed at wendybellradio.com. Think of where it ends when you put it in. And it says Second Amendment commemorative gift.
WBR 2A commemorative.
There are some rules and restrictions online about what you're allowed to sell to whom and where. So we play it safe, and that's how you find it.
And the reason we do AR-15, and we've had people ask about holsters and all kind of things like that, is that there's so many, and that's why we just do the AR-15.
Everybody has a firearm, has a special this or that they like. And this is,
I like this holster. I don't like that holster.
We both have ARs. My husband has an AR. We'll get trained on them when ours are finished being built.
Well, they're finished.
Oh, are they? Is that what also part of the transaction?
Well, we were waiting because of the transfer fee of $200. They had a transfer fee and Trump got rid of it.
So we wanted to wait.
So we were waiting, and
hey, every dollar counts, because I got to be paying freaking Tom McClintock and Michael Guest and Austin Scott and Dwight Evans. And
I'm going to call my guy and be like, what are you doing?
What are you doing, dude?
Yeah, you're killing me.
Nothing fast, right? Yes, I agree. Well, that's very exciting. I want to tell you guys about bodybyAim360.com. Brock, I want you to hop on here real fast because you were the beginning of this process when you did this program a couple years ago. And the blood work. What did you get out of the blood work? Because that's really, I think, the secret sauce here.
Well, I found out I was right along the edge of diabetic, and I was low T, which was the big one because that's what prevents men from losing weight. Is
low
T.
testosterone.
Yes. So, and once you lose weight, your low T, aside from taking supplements, your low T naturally increases to higher T. So,
did you notice a difference in that regard?
I think so. I think
testosterone.
You get more stamina, you get more oomph. Yeah.
So when you're shoveling out your whole street, you're able to do it.
Well, I
until
did
you
use the
slip?
snowblower.
Yeah.
I can't take.
Yeah.
I let Kate shovel, and
That's nice.
I used the snowblower.
That's giving. What a man.
Well, I could have snowblowed right onto where she just shoveled, but no.
BodybyAim360.com. That's what Dr. Dubiak does. And the whole program is predicated around your blood test. So you go get this blood work for $199 and you get all of these results that he goes over with you. And you're like, I had no idea. It's so extensive. And then you get this plan that's like, well, the reason why you're not losing weight is because of this, this, and this. And if we fix this and this, then that'll get fixed too. And you're like, oh, what?
The best part, though, is it's not forever. That you go through the program and you realize, okay, so I put 10 pounds back on. I know how to take it off.
Right. And you change how you eat and you eat deliciously and you modify things. And all of a sudden, it's not this giant thing. 412-227-9255. Body by AIM. 360.com, $199, 65 biomarkers, all these hormones, opens up your eyes to what's going on inside of your body. I love it. I love it. It works. We've seen people who lost 100 pounds on it. I mean,
yeah.
And they show you pictures. They're like, look at me. And I'm like, wow, Boba Laddie. And they're like, I know, I wasn't fatty, but I'm feeling good now. And I'm like, good. So great. It works. All right.
I ask if they come with the trip.
Oh. And we need 280 for
I don't know if
3,000,
Joe's
guys.
is done yet.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's see. All right. FBI agents raid election hub. There we go.
I think so.
What? Oh, very nice.
We'll have to put them on the Facebook page, my Facebook page, when they're done. But they're pretty cool. Dare I say, they're badass.
I really like that training. I really like the training.
The training?
When we went out with Kelly and
Oh,
I became more
yeah.
comfortable with it after I had a nervous breakdown and sobbed
Yeah.
for 10 minutes or
But it was cool. Kelly took us and we were shooting from cars and, you know, you'll automatically feel more comfortable with the firearm.
Well, that's what so many people have been saying about Alex Preddy and all of this stuff. Like, carrying a gun isn't just something you ho-hum do. Like, it's a real decision. You think about it. You think about how you're putting it on your body. You're thinking about how it's loaded. You're thinking about how your firearm is cared for. You have to have it licensed. You have to go through those. Criminals don't, of course, which is why the gun-free zones are such, horse hockey, as we would quote from that Iowa guy. But right? You think about what you're wearing, where you're going, what environment you're going to be in, what you're going to do. You are so aware of your surroundings. Like, it's a serious responsibility. You don't just do it, right?
I can't help it.
What? Oh, what are you going to do? Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, one of the more disturbing stories I ever told as a reporter here in the Pittsburgh area, and I did it for many, many years, 30 years I've been in journalism, reporter, anchor, what have you. I did a story on a tragic family circumstance that shined a light on schizophrenia. And I have tremendous, I don't know what the word is. I'm not so sure it's compassion. I don't know if it's empathy. I have great feeling for families who struggle with mental illness. Rob and Michelle Reiner. I was not a fan of Rob Reiner. That was so horrifying. And so many families out there are trapped in mental illness. And the story I told was about a woman whose parents lived with her parents with her son who was schizophrenic. And the son, in such a garish, horrible way in the kitchen, took a knife and stabbed his grandmother in the back and killed her. Just awful. And then the story about schizophrenia and about where families are and how they're trapped and there's really no help. And so many parents are literally prisoners in their own homes with children they can't control who are dangerous. It was awful. And it really opened my eyes to what we don't know about each other. Right? So quick to judge, but so little we really know. And so this story that I'm going to tell you about from the Daily Mail is really difficult, and it's despicable. See, if you're going to feed off of a system, if you're going to sponge off of a system, the way the Somalis did in Minnesota, you need to have a victim, right? There needs to be some problem that you have a fix for. It's going to generate money that needs money given to it. So Gavin Newsom got behind this program in California. It was called Care First. And he got behind this thing, really blustery about it. He's like, yeah, we're going to get these seriously mentally ill people off of the streets, and we're going to give them the care that they need, right? And who doesn't want to get behind that? I'm not going to give money to that. Screw you, bucko. No, nobody does that. You're like, of course. I mean, like, what if it's going to work? But of course, nothing works. Getting homeless people in homes, it doesn't work. Building something, it never works. There's always siphoning. The project always stalls. It's always a bust. And the people who are the quote unquote victims who we all want to rush to and help always get left in the cold, right? And that's this. And it's infuriating. It has to stop. All of it. And that's what this president, I think, is doing. Stop it. That's draining the swamp. That's what he ran on in 2016, and it's still with us. So I want to read this to you. When Gavin Newsom launched Care Court with great fanfare, he promised help for people with severe mental illness who go back and forth between homelessness, jail, and emergency rooms. California governor boasted that Care Court would be a completely new paradigm that would compassionately force people's mentally ill loved ones off of the streets and into treatment via a judge's order, and estimated that up to 12,000 people could be helped. A state assembly analysis said, no, it's actually up to 50,000 people who could be eligible for this, right? However, after spending $236 million in taxpayer money on Care Court since the March 2022 announcement, the Daily Mail can reveal that the program has flopped, with some critics saying it is fraud, and only 22 people have been court-ordered into treatment so far. $236 million. 22 people. Of roughly 3,000 petitions filed by October statewide, people who were like, can we get help? Right? 706 were approved, but of those, 684 were voluntary agreements that were never the intended point of the program. So the program itself seemed to have some pretty big porous areas. When the plan was first announced, Rhonda DePlaze is 62 and her husband, who had often been prisoners in their home in Concord since their son's schizophrenia diagnosis 20 years ago. Care Court looked finally to be the solution to her entire family's heartbreak. Her son developed schizophrenia in his late teens, she said. At first, the family believed the struggles were primarily addiction-related. Like many families of California, they believed Care Court would finally allow a judge to order treatment for someone too sick to recognize they needed help. California's homeless population has hovered between 170,000, 180,000 in recent years, despite the $24 billion that California has spent allegedly to home people. Where are the homes? Where are the people? They're on the streets, and a lot of them have mental illness. Between 30 and 60% of the homeless are thought to have serious mental illness, and many of those have substance abuse issues, according to both state and federal data. Celebrity parents like Rob and Michelle Reiner, allegedly murdered by their long-troubled son, Nick, or the parents of former Nickelodeon child star Tyler Chase, who's been living on the streets of Riverside and resisting efforts to help him, face the same often insurmountable challenges as the DePlazes do and other families when trying to rescue and aid their own children. And as I told you in my circumstance, the story I covered, it ended with death. and a son incarcerated with mental illness. For the past 60 years, ever since the passage of the bipartisan Landerman-Petraeus Short Act, which was signed into law by then Governor Ronald Reagan and led to the end of involuntary confinement in state mental hospitals, lawmakers and mental health advocates have struggled to find solutions for the chronically mentally ill in the state. But when the DePlazes heard Newsom talk about care court, mom in the case felt he understood what she and other parents of mentally ill offspring go through. I've got 4 kids, Newsom said at the time. I can't imagine how hard this is. It breaks your heart. I mean, your life is just torn asunder. Nobody says that, ladies and gentlemen, when they're being authentic and they speak the heart. They don't say their lives are torn asunder. They say they live like prisoners in their house, worried about what's going to happen. 22 people, you guys. 22. And I'm looking at a picture of the mom in this case. Like, there's so many victims of these grifts, these unscrupulous money holes, like dumps of cash. And people in California who pay these exorbitant taxes, the people of Virginia who now are realizing that with Abigail Spanberger as a governor, everything changes. The taxes become exorbitant. Here in Pennsylvania, in my area, in Pittsburgh, I mean, the wholesale increase of our property taxes with city and county, 50+% in 1 year. Like, for what? And then ultimately the grifts come out and you pull the thread and it's care court. Right? And it's all sounding wonderful. And then you've got somebody like Gavin Newsom who makes you feel like he hears you. Right? Your lives are torn asunder. Big red flag. But the $236 million is gone. The $24 billion for homelessness is gone. The $100+ billion boondoggle bullet train to nowhere. The money is gone. The homeless aren't in homes. The mentally ill aren't off the street. The drug situation is still out of control. And yet we're told these are sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. Sanctuary for what? For people to rot as bad people get rich. That's real collateral damage. And yet Gavin Newsom will put on his teeth whitener and throw some gel in his hair and do his little hand movements and go like this because he's seemingly on something. And he'll try to tell you, oh, I know what it's all about. No, Trump is the problem. But you know what Donald Trump does? He talks to you in plain English. He tells you what the deal is. He tells you that he sees you. He tells you that he understands. And he tells you he's going to fix it. And then, by golly, he goes out and he does. That is why he is public enemy number 1. Every state has a grift. Every state has a CARES court. Every state has the collateral damage. And finally, once and for all, we the people just say, we've had enough. Enough. Gavin. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, stop the cheating and pass the SAVE Act, right? It's not complicated. Get the people who shouldn't be voting off of the voter rolls, make people prove who they are. You got to do it every day of your life, right? Why are Republicans against it? Who are these people? You're deep state losers. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. That made me so angry. So this poor woman loses her mom when the son puts a butcher knife in her mom's, I think it was her chest. And her husband was right there. Husband watches grandson kill his wife. Grandson arrested, put somewhere. Disinfect with Sniper. Do you have your flag? I saw you trying to hang it.
Yeah, well,
it didn't work.
I'm gonna need an extra set of hands.
Oh, did you? Oh, you brought combat strips. Is that what that was for?
Command
That's not
strips.
I mean, command strip. What did I say? Combat? Yeah, command. Sorry.
Combat.
I don't know. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I used Sniper this morning in 3 different rooms, all bathrooms. And it's just the best thing in the world. I will spray down the countertop and the nozzles, the handles for the sink and what have you, everything that has to do with things people touch. And I just let it sit. And then I go back with a damp sponge and I just wipe. You don't have to scrub. You don't have to do anything special. You can leave it, forget about it, and it works. It's amazing. Disinfectwithsniper.com.
Free shipping. Don't get it anywhere else.
Well, I had a woman say to me, she said, I see that if I try to get a gallon, though, the cost is changed and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, I'll look into that. We'll see. But I know that our Sniper guy wanted to compete with Amazon.
Yes, it's the same price as Amazon. I'm trying to beat up Jolene.
You are? Why?
We don't want excuses, just results. There's a little snow on the ground. You got 4-wheel drive.
You want to meet her halfway? Go to Bedford?
No.
You want her to come here?
Yes.
Oh.
I told her I'd take her to Hal's or Grist House.
Oh, so you're conning her into driving the whole way.
No, she brought it up.
Oh.
I just was being nice.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay. 285, guys. We need 3. I mean, 150 to go. I love you for that.
Wow.
I don't know what you're all fussy about.
Well, I mean, Brock's always the bad guy.
Let's see. Why wouldn't you want to force people to prove who they are? Because you want to cheat. I mean, come on now.
Can you use Sniper on kids' toys? You absolutely can.
Yes. You can even spray it on their binkies. It's safe. I hate that word, binky.
Well, not everybody has what's the Frozen thing that you had for boo-boos?
I wonder if Jolene is part of the League of Women Voters. You guys see this? I'm getting a phone call right now. I'm sorry, but my extended warranty is just fine. The House of Representatives passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act for a second time in April 2025. That would be the SAVE Act. League of Women Voters says the SAVE Act would require citizenship documentation to register to vote, even though voters in every state are already required to affirm or verify their citizenship status while registering. Now, the Senate must reject this bill to prevent it from coming. I'm wondering why the League of Women Voters would want to dissuade a measure that would require you to prove that you're a freaking citizen to vote in our elections. Sort of like, why is it that the ACLU is working so hard not to fight for the liberties of Americans, but to fight for illegals? It's almost like everybody sucks, and all of these acronyms are coming out of the woodwork to prove to you how much they do. Right? Well, we found this podcaster guy. I don't know who he is. You might know him. And he says, look, if you ever wanted to know if the uniparty is the thing, and it is a thing, all you have to do is look at who is probably not going to vote to pass the SAVE Act, right? If we don't figure out who shouldn't be voting in our elections and getting them carved off of the voter rolls, if we don't get people who the Biden administration imported because they lost the black voters and they needed a new base, right? If we don't get those people out and prove of citizenship and trim the voter rolls, well, then you don't have a country. You don't have sovereignty. You just don't. You have fraud, and you get another Joe Biden in the White House, period, if we're being honest. Okay? This guy says, behold the uniparty, because these rhinos, 8 of them, say they probably are going to sink the SAVE Act. Really?
Okay. You know what? Let me go ahead and show you the post. Elon Musk put out this post, and he's like, look, there is 8 Republicans that are unfortunately fighting against the SAVE Act. There's a uniparty, guys, that we're about to expose. That's why I love it. Kash Patel is on it. The whole MAGA party is on it. He said, unfortunately, there are 8 Republican senators implacably opposed to passing the voter integrity law, as it would require ending the filibuster. Okay? I want to give you those names. Okay? Here are the 8 names. Okay? Based on current discussions, reports circulating through them all, Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski, Rand Paul, Mitch McConnell, there's no surprise there, Tom Tillis, Todd Young, Chuck Grassley, and Jerry Moran. These are the ones that reportedly are the ones opposing passing the voting integrity law. Can you see this right here, guys? Again, it matters to know the receipts. It matters to know who they are. It matters to know what's happening behind the scenes, because everything that's happening in Congress, it's only happening because we are draining the swamp right now. We're exposing all the names. Here are the names again. We're draining the swamp. We're making sure that people know the truth of why things are not getting done in the Senate. Everybody's like, well, why aren't they doing it in the Senate? Why aren't they passing the voter ID law? They've already done it in the House. Well, guess what? When you've got 8 Republicans that won't do what they need to do to pass it, that's where we are constantly fighting all of this internal uniparty, everybody.
You know, and so when we look at, like, let's just even say the Liberty scores of some of these people. So Conservative Review, Liberty scores. I don't know if they're still doing these, but what they do is they take people in Congress, in the Senate, and they look at their voting record, right? And some of these people have been in Congress for 1.5 billion years, and they aggregate, like, what do conservatives vote for with all of these House bills and Senate bills, what have you. And when people vote the other way, right? When you've got a Republican who votes alongside the Democrats, it brings down their Liberty score. Well, let's talk about these 8 Senate Republicans who ostensibly would vote to sink the SAVE Act. Ask yourself why. Susan Collins, this woman is worthless. Why she's there as a Republican? Well, this is why we have to be very curious about the voter rolls. Because if fake people are voting for her to stay in office, it's the same as voting for a Democrat. So there's a vested interest in her staying in office. She's been there for 25 years, guys. F Liberty score, 20%. Abysmal. Lisa Murkowski, same story. 20 years she's been in the Senate. F Liberty score, 29%. She votes with Republicans 29% of the time. That's freaking horrible. Tom Tillis, 0. He's leaving. Why? Because he's a deep state swamp creature. He's got an F Liberty score, 49%. Todd Young.
Update. Todd Young says they've reviewed the SAVE Act and has been requested to be added as a co-sponsor now.
Well, there you go, Todd. You're getting your head out of your rumpus. Chuck Grassley. Chuck, you're 1,000,000 years old, dude. I love the stuff that you've done, digging into the fraud and the abuse with oh my God, Ron Johnson. You've got a 56% F Liberty score after 41 years, brother. Rand Paul, what's going on with you? You're a 93% A. You vote alongside the Republicans 93% of the time. You're conservative, but not on this. Is that true? And why would that be? Jerry Moran, 52% F after 11 years in the Senate. And Mitch McConnell, Mr. Statue himself, Mr. I'm married to China himself, 37 years in the Senate, 44% F. You know, can we maybe get some better decisions, better choices, better candidates, and better leaders? Yeah. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, President Trump, Bigfoot's Gavin Newsom, and Karen Bass. He's had enough of the theatrics of the rebuilding of the Pacific Palisades. He wants it fast-tracked. Stat. Next. Yeah, I can't read and do
I
that
know.
at the same time. So I'm glad you said something because nothing I could do about it. Is that what you were saying?
I was trying to get that to you. My fat fingers weren't working fast enough.
Kelly Morgan. Morgan's Fitness.
So someone's saying Paul is a co-sponsor. Rand Paul is a co-sponsor.
All right. Let's see. We'll correct that. So Rand Paul and now Todd Young reported as co-sponsors. All right, so now we're down to 5 or 6. Tom Tillis isn't going to do anything that Trump wants because Trump basically ran him out of town. So I know Collins and Murkowski will do nothing. Tillis will be a 0. Grassley, what are you, dude? I don't know what you're doing. We'll have to see. Kelly Morgan, Morgain's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. She's lovely. What Kelly does is she gives you that freedom and the flexibility to work out from the privacy of your own home and to be a part of a weight loss and fitness revolution that in 90 days has completely transformed not just the bodies, but I'm going to say the psychology of so many people, not just in Pennsylvania, but all over the country. That's the beauty of Morgain's Fitness, 90 Ignite. You give her 90 days and she's going to ignite in you. She's going to give you the knowledge. She's going to give you the exercises. She's going to give you the ideas for food, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, right? And you're going to lose the weight. The thing is, are you willing to give it 90 days? And can you do it? Can you put in the time? Because some of the pictures we're seeing, some of the success stories we're seeing, it's nothing short of phenomenal. So think about it. By the time Mother's Day, Easter, all of this stuff rolls around, you could be a dramatically different you before Father's Day. You. Morgainsfitness.com. MORGAINZ fitness.com. What did you just send me?
So someone put out a list that said that Congress must pass the SAVE Act. It says last updated January 27, 2026. So yesterday, Rand Paul was on it. Now he's crossed off. Dave McCormick was on it. Signed off. Now he's going to do it. Katie Britt now is going to do it.
Yeah, because she's in the freaking crosshairs.
Bill Haggerty.
Look,
I saw Barrasso was one. He's off the list now. Like he's going to.
This isn't negotiable.
Thune? I haven't heard Thune come out for it. So
they're forcing these people to be flushed out. Trump he's the guy with the shotgun. He's got the bird dog and he's got the gun and the dog is walking through the low grass and they're marching through and the dog is on point. And Trump's got it. He's ready to go.
Well, let's be honest about it. I want to see come to a vote. Make them show it.
That's what I'm saying.
On Twitter.
He's flushing them out. Yes.
Are these people coming forward because now I need to get reelected and I know these other guys aren't going to vote
I think
for
it's kind of interesting that if Katie Britt was on there as being and then the stuff comes out about her, she might be like, maybe that's why it came out.
Oh, look at that tinfoil shining.
It doesn't feel tinfoily. It feels kind of comfortable. What doesn't feel comfortable is my bladder. Damn it.
What?
I know. I gabbed too long. I'm keenly aware of that fact. So clearly I have to put on more lipstick.
That's probably going to help.
Totally. I have an addiction. But at least I'm honest about it.
I want to see them all vote on everything.
Yeah.
Tell me who you are. Quit hiding behind the party. John Thune is Mitch McConnell's biatch, so that wouldn't surprise me.
Indivisible just sent me something.
And why would McConnell, why would you care? You're not running.
Oh.
Murkowski needs to go. Along with that ranked
Joe
choice
Taylor,
winner.
I hear you, baby. Joe says North Carolina is ashamed of Tom Tillis. Well, we live in the land before time, so.
But why wouldn't Dave McCormick be behind it right off the bat? He ran as MAGA. This is what MAGA has not changed what they want. If you ran as MAGA, we have not changed what we want. Why would you be against that? I'm going to get me my dots and a drink, and I'm going to watch Rubio today. Oh, I can't wait. I got to find it somewhere online. C-SPAN. Must watch.
Wow. They're going to shut down the government.
Good.
To the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, I feel horribly for people in fellow blue hellscapes like California that just keep getting bent over and abused by blowhard Democrats and lousy Republicans who allow it to happen. But when we watched the homes burn in the Palisades last January, and I was on the phone every day with my dad because the fire came about a quarter mile from our house. It's real. Real incompetence has real consequences. Karen Bass decided to go to Africa. Wasn't she in like Ghana? Where the hell she was, I don't know. Literally. Knew that the wind was going to be gnarly. Look, growing up in Southern California, the Santa Ana winds are real. Just like in Boulder, Colorado, they're called the Chinooks. They will rock your world and they will bend you over and throw you into the street. And there's nothing you can do about it. They know when these things are coming. They knew that the fire hydrants weren't going to get any water. They knew that the reservoirs weren't full. They knew that the water from the Sierra Nevada was diverted into the freaking Pacific Ocean to protect the smelt, some stupid fish that somewhere else it exists elsewhere, right? They knew. They knew. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care about your home. They don't care that every single thing that you own, that you care about, every memory about people who've passed away in your life. Mementos that you'll never be able to get back. They don't care that it all went away like that and that people died. That is the tragedy of it all. How do you not care? I dislike the views of many of my neighbors, but I wouldn't not help one of them. My husband's a cardiologist, right? People who've been horrible to me here in Pittsburgh. If one of them landed on his cath lab table in an emergency, do you think he would be like, well, you know, I know who you are, mister. I know what you said, so I'm not so sure I'm going to save you. No. But even on basic things, Democrats prove again and again and again and again that they don't care. They create all of these programs and all this bull crap to try to tell you, oh, we're going to do all these wonderful things. We're such wonderful, good people. And then nobody gets helped. The problem gets worse. They point fingers and they blame Trump, right? Well, President Trump is tired of the freaking California failure theater, and he's issued an emergency order, an executive order for his administration to take over the LA fire rebuild. The January 2025 wildfires in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena areas of Los Angeles were perhaps the most powerful examples yet of the failures of progressive one-party rule and the ruination they bring. Hey, Virginia, pay attention. You're next. Reservoirs were empty. The mayor was out of the country despite advance warnings. Fire officials were more concerned with social justice politics than preventing fires. State forestry regulations left the remains of the fire smoldering to protect a plant, which in turn led to the devastation. Can't freaking make it up. But the pain for so many has not gone away. As over a year later, tens of thousands are still without their homes. And the pace of rebuilding under Newsom and Bass barely reaches level of anemic. So Trump is sick of the endless Golden State failure theater. And on Tuesday, he signed that order stating that his administration is taking over and will act like the parents to the little children running the declining state. And this is what he wrote 1 year ago. The California state and Los Angeles city and county governments failed to contain wildfires that ravaged Los Angeles, and consumed nearly 40,000 acres of homes and businesses. The state and local governments failed to engage in responsible forest management systems, out of a misguided commitment to naturalist and climate policies, which increased the severity of the fires. They failed to maintain water distribution and reservoir systems so that these systems would be available and fully functional in case of an emergency. It's like the freaking plow trucks in Pittsburgh. 37 out of 100 of them didn't work. They broke down. What? That's what you get. They failed to maintain all this stuff. Then they failed to quickly communicate evacuation warnings. They failed to act decisively or cohesively. In fact, Mayor Karen Bass was not in LA to respond to the crisis because she was traveling. Right? And then when somebody asked her about it, what did she do? She gave him the silent treatment. I do not see you. I am a robot. I am not answering your questions. Great optics, Karen. Great optics. The governor of Suck, who loves Cuba because she's a communist. Check me. Then that's one thing percolating. Let's get the freaking homes bill. Let's get people back in. No 15-minute cities. We're not the UK. We're not nutty. Okay? Period. Then Dr. Oz, who's like, not on my bingo card, guy who's the director of Center for Medicaid and Medicare Services, whatever his acronym is, whatever. He's killing it in California. And you got to hear what he has to say, because he's like, look, we're going to drop the hammer on Newsom and Bass for the abject fraud that has happened under their noses. Because it's not just fire mismanagement. It's not just all these people suffering. It's not just the homeless. It's not just the drug-addled. It's not just the mentally ill walking around. It's people who are stealing from the home hospice care, home health care, kind of like Minnesota, except on steroids. Dr. Oz, number one, says, look, we're going to give Gavin Newsom time. You got like a month. You've overseen the ballooning of spending for in-home health services, which have more than tripled over the last decade, even though the number of recipients hasn't really gone up. Why ever would that be?
California is already paying back $1.6 billion that they previously charged to the federal government for healthcare services given to illegal immigrants. But they have a much bigger fraud problem that hurts American citizens. So I've instructed Governor Newsom to produce within the next 3 weeks a comprehensive program integrity action plan to address major fraud in their healthcare system. I'm going to give you 3 examples of embarrassing fraud that Governor Newsom has been seemingly tolerating for years. First, California shares the problems that we are seeing in Minnesota with in-home supportive services. What are these? They include personal care like bathing or grooming, household tasks, cleaning and cooking, shopping, transportation. Now, these are tasks that your family could do for you, but having the government pay has generated some significant cash for unethical people. California's spending for these services increased from $8 to $28 billion over the past decade. Why should the federal taxpayer spend 250% more money on California, which is already an affluent state? And this program is still growing by double digits annually.
You know, this is how I feel about abortion, okay? I'm not going to tell you what you should or should not do with your body. I am in no position to dictate to anybody their circumstances any more than I can tell you what really happened to Alex Preddy and the circumstance in Minneapolis that led to his death, right? I'm going to tell you, I don't want to pay for your abortion. If you want to do something, that's on you. We shouldn't be financing it. If California wants to allow a governor or a system of just such serious suck, that's on California. But it ends up bleeding into you and to me, into our taxes, because we pay for it. A tripling of these home health care services in the last decade. What does that take us to? Oh, right after the passage of the Affordable Care Act. Which, of course, not a single Republican voted for. Curious. Dr. Oz goes on and he says, look, in 2024, home health care spending in California went up 21%, the largest growth rate of any healthcare category nationwide. Why?
The number of home health agencies in California almost doubled between 2019 and 24. LA County alone is accounting for $1.4 billion, representing almost 9% of total fee-for-service home health spending for the entire country, though it just has 2% of the national enrollment. That's 5 times more than expected LA Home Health. I don't get it. They're taking home money that other agencies nationwide could use, so fewer Americans can get access to these vital services. LA County's corrupt practices are hurting innocent seniors outside of Southern California.
And by the way, I mean, isn't it just so amazing that the entire predicate of the liberal mind is based on the hero sanctimony? You're the hero. You're the do-gooder. We're going to swoop in and we're going to fix the problem because there is a victim out there and we're going to help that victim, by golly. Oh, my goodness. They considered the Black community victims. They ran on it. And they fleeced the Black community, never improved anything, campaigned on it, took advantage of them. All these programs that never did a damn thing, right? That's the rub. And Dr. Oz says, look, LA County's biggest scam of all, hospice care. Democrats will tell you, but families at end of life, they need it. They need this. We've got to help them. We must raise money. Let's just like the CARES Corps. We've got to get these people off the streets. We're going to help them. Come on. It's just going to take money. It's just a rounding error. It's just another percent. It's just for a little while. Don't you worry about it. It's so necessary. It's what good people do. It's for the greater good.
Yes, you heard that right, 1,500%. That exceeds the 40% increase in the senior population during that same period. How can you defend a 7-fold increase in hospice, especially since so many of these charlatans report 100% survival for supposedly terminally ill patients? I'm hearing horror stories from seniors duped by these fraudsters because California is not stopping these criminals. Governor Newsom, the clock is ticking on the deadline for your comprehensive program integrity action plan. Start saving American lives instead of enabling criminals.
You know, and I appreciate that so much. I do, Dr. Oz. But honestly, what's going to happen if he doesn't? Right? What's going to happen if he doesn't? He's going to limp, stonewall, slow walk to the finish line, hope to become somehow the darling of the Democrats so that he becomes the nominee for 2028. Right? That's basically where he's going. That's all he wants. And by the way, what's Bill Clinton's penalty for avoiding Congress, for subverting a congressional subpoena? Because there is no consequence. Now, Brock brought up something very interesting. Quickly, Brock, before the break, what did you say about Ron DeSantis? You've been noticing Ron DeSantis a lot lately, which is interesting.
Yeah, he's been in the news a lot. He's doing a lot of media hits, and some people have suggested maybe Ron DeSantis is the next attorney general.
Huh. You never know, ladies and gentlemen, but rampant fraud, waste, and abuse, California, Pennsylvania, right? Colorado, Minnesota, New York. Add your Democrat bluescape here. Duh. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, Charles Payne, love him. He's like, this economy under Trump, this is freaking amazing. Do not take your eye off the ball, which means to me, Totally government shutdown. Democrats want to stop the progress. How do you do that? Shut it down. Wow. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network.
Maybe, just maybe, a shutdown pushes them to nuke it.
Did you just say shut down? You just did. It's all right. I'm not judging. Oh, so you hope if that happens, then it forces the hand of the
because it takes it to be like, no. We're not playing this game anymore. Real people suffer. We're going to nuke the filibuster and start passing
But
this.
see, that requires Senate
backbone.
Republicans to actually vote alongside the president's agenda. So what would happen if you nuke the filibuster and then you've got incompetent, inept, willow Republicans who already haven't done anything? They didn't do much during Trump's first term. They're sure as hell trying not to do a whole lot now. What's to make us believe that they're all of a sudden going to get a bee in their bonnet and going to want to start passing stuff?
I think you take the risk. I really do. I think the people have spoken, and I think the more pressure you can put on them, the better.
I think you have to make everything come to a vote. You have to make people show you who they are and what they do.
Let's be real. The Democrats are going to do it anyways the minute they get in the power.
100%.
So
And then by the way, who are these assholes, Grassley and all these people? I beg your pardon for the language, but it is what it is. They're all going to slither off into the sunset. They already have their tens of millions of dollars. They don't give a crap about you. They don't care if they pack the cord. They don't care if it goes into the ground. They don't care if somebody like Tim Walz or Kamala Harris becomes the leader of the free world. They don't care. They're set. They're ready to go, and you don't matter.
Listen, big risk can get you big rewards. That's it. If you don't do it, you know what you're going to get. What's the harm? What's the harm? Because the people are going to start speaking in Chuck Grassley's, and eventually they're going to have to hear it.
Chuck Grassley doesn't care.
He's
91. He ain't running again. Right? That's why I say I can't stand the Republicans. I cannot stand, I do not envision a scenario where somebody could tempt me unless they, I guess, threatened my family or something. I don't know. And I don't even know. I don't even think that would work. I don't know what I would do. I don't know.
Call them all to the carpet. I honestly think that you're going to get nothing accomplished without passing or nuking the filibuster. You're going to get nothing accomplished. You might as well try. I mean, look what we're getting now. Nowhere. Really fast.
Guess what was just delivered to my house, apparently? Chris's ridiculously priced jacket.
Perfect timing. It's cold.
I'll let you know it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, yes.
Shouldn't Chris...
There's Jack picking up a box.
Thinking it's probably for him.
No, he knows.
Let the dog out.
Let the dog out. God. of course, big things, agenda item things that the Democrats have to do in the deep state. They need to stop this Trump progress. They need to stall this agenda. They need to fight all of the good stuff that's happening. They've got to do whatever they can to derail the economic progress. Because this is two things President Trump won on. That's one, the economy, bringing down inflation, making things affordable again, getting us back into the world of sanity. And number two, shutting the border and figuring out what's going on with these immigrants. Right? What's the dude doing every single day? Oh, by the way, while also taking out Iran's nuclear capabilities, while also taking down Maduro and bringing he and his wife to the United States, while blowing up all of the drug boats that are trying to bring cocaine and other things across the sea to poison our people, President Trump is fulfilling his promises. Promises made, promises kept. Did you guys hear that John Deere is coming home to America? John Deere is announced 2 new facilities in the United States to open within the next year. A parts distribution center near Hebron, Indiana, and a $70 million excavator factory at its Kernersville, North Carolina campus. Each site is expected to create about 150 jobs. Production of future excavators will move from Japan to Kernersville, North Carolina. The company said it will retain its primary North American parts center in Milan, Illinois, at Milan, I don't know how to, it's probably Milan, Illinois, and reiterated a $20 billion commitment to U.S. manufacturing over the next 10 years. This is what he was doing this whole time. That's what Independence Day was. That tariff independent. That's what that was in the Rose Garden last April. All of this is the effects of it. Charles Payne over at Fox Business says the numbers we're seeing are so good. It's almost like we forgot things could be this way. We were like wounded animals. Listen.
It's an absolute economic boom. And, you know, it's amazing because no one disputes it. No one who is in the business of finance. Every firm on Wall Street sees the market higher. And what's interesting about it is, you know, and I've always said the stock market is not the economy, but there are parts of it, particularly when it comes to earnings, right? So this market is going to go up, but it's going to be driven by earnings, not what they call PE expansion, not hype, not anything else. Just the fact that the economy, the domestic economy is doing so much better. By the way, you didn't mention rents. All right, so think about this for a moment because affordability has been a real issue. Rents came down every single month the last 5 months of 2025. That momentum will continue to the downside. There are some sources out there that show inflation at 1.2%. It's absolutely imploded. The data will catch up with the Federal Reserve. The data will catch up with the economists that use other forms. But the bottom line is we've got this economic wind at our backs that should make this just an absolute amazing year. A year that, by the way, I think many Americans forgot we can still have.
Isn't that nice to hear? Which you know means, bah, bah, bah. Democrats need to stop it. Throw something at it, spike strips, get the Coyote and get the Acme, you know, blow some road up, whatever you've got to do, stop it. Which is why the Washington Times puts this out today. Schumer balks at Trump's pullback in Minneapolis. Government shutdown, all but inevitable this week. Right? The Senate returned to Washington on Tuesday with just a few days left to avert a partial government. Where the hell the Senate was, I don't know. To avert a partial government shutdown and an intractable impasse over funding ICE. Democrats want to separate the Department of Homeland Security spending bill from 5 others in the Senate. It needs to pass by Friday and renegotiate it with more guardrails on U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents. Republicans want to keep the 6-bill package intact to avoid having to return it to the House. They want to shut the government down. Now they use ICE as a reason. Look at them. They're Nazis. They're hunting people down, blah, blah, blah. And yet Trump has taken that card away from them. He says, you know what? We're going to pull back a little bit. You guys do your thing. We'll get these people out that you don't like, and we'll bring Tom Homan in, and he'll work with you, and we'll get the people who are the criminals out, and then you guys can return to life. He's taken the oxygen away from their fire, and the fire doesn't work without it. right? They need to have it burning. They need smoke going as far as the eye can see. So you're like, wait, we're supposed to be talking about fraud and waste, but I can't. Oh, God. Is that apple cider vinegar burning my eyes? Beep, 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 beep. Anyway, it's not supposed to be this much fun, you guys, but you make it that way. So thank you for having a wonderful day with me. We're going to do it all again tomorrow. We're going to listen to what happened with Marco Rubio before the Senate Foreign Relations or whatever the hell, Armed Serve, whatever their committee is that they're talking to. All that and more tomorrow. Love you guys. Peace.